And we are apparently live. Hello and good evening. Welcome to this week's episode of Primetime Gaming. I'm your host, Mr. Boomstick XL, and coming back to this program after last week's record-breaking numbers has me through the roof excited. Now, I needed to say a big thank you to everyone that made episode 9 the most successful live broadcast in the history of me being a content creator on YouTube. Now, let's get into the opening because we have a lot to discuss. Tonight's very special guest is a man that I consider a brother. He's one of the most passionate gaming content creators on the YouTube. A lord that defines what it means to be humble, a community member who extends his hand of friendship to all he meets, a gamer with the skills of a ninja master known as Shinobi, and a Destiny player that have saved the universe more times than he will admit, the voice of the Iron Lords podcast. Please welcome Lord Cognito.
Boom, you try to take me out of a job, boom. That was fantastic, brother. Oh, man. Thank you so much, brother. That was fantastic. It's always a pleasure to be in the realm of double barrel gaming and, of course, prime time with some great gentlemen in here, some familiar faces in here. So I can't wait, man. I'm super pumped. I'm super excited. We got a lot of hot topics, and I'm glad I'm actually not working so I can make the show. So long overdue. Boom, man. This is fantastic. Let's have some fun, brother.
Does anybody say, okay, someone said no sound. Are we coming through clear?
Are we coming through clear?
Everybody in the chat just want to say hello and let us know that if you hear us loud and clear, just give me a thumbs up. Yes. Okay. So we are apparently live. That might have been, you know what it might have been? It might have been just a slight delay. Okay. But listen, Cognito, first of all, dude, it is an absolute honor. It is a privilege. It is a pleasure to have you on this show. You've had me on Iron Lords podcast numerous times. More specifically, episode, I believe it was 100, which was a big one.
Yes.
And then 79 before that, where we actually became really good friends. And of course, if you don't know, we hung out at E3 for an entire, we lived together for a week, which was amazing.
Yes.
And it's really great to have you on. And we have a lot to break down. And this is going to be a fire episode. So strap in. But let's get into our other panel members. We next have a gamer whose undying skills in Destiny have no match and no limit. He is our inside man to everything GameStop. He's an incredible father, husband, and one heck of a community member, creator of the amazing Gaming Forte YouTube channel, and an integral part of the Basement Radio Arcade podcast, and the reason why everyone wants him on their Crucible team. Please welcome Guardian Forte.
Ah, man, I can't ever get enough. He blows my head up so big. It's just like a balloon about to fly off to space. But look, man, I always tell you, man, Oprah Winfrey of YouTube right here, man. That's who you are. And you know, having Lord Cognito on here, I don't get a chance to speak to this man as much as I want to because he's always busy. But there's two shows that I always make sure I tune in for. It's always the stuff when Boom's doing it, and it's always on Sunday mornings when the Lords are at their round table, and being able to share the table with you guys and the rest of our panel is always a must on Monday afternoons or nights now.
Well, listen, dude, it's great to have you a part of this show as a regular panel member. Love what you do on every show that you're on, but more importantly, love what you do with this community and how open and accepting you are. And of course, you are an integral part of not only your shows that you're on, but the community that you are a part of. So once again, thank you for being here. Next, we have a gaming hero who has patiently been awaiting the new Batman game so he could once again save Gotham City, a newcomer to the podcast game with skills of a 20-year veteran, an Xbox enthusiast who bleeds green when you cut him, and the creator of his very own amazing Mixer channel. Please welcome the Caped Crusader, Cybernox.
What's going on, Boom? What's going on, chat? It's always a pleasure to be here. You know, we start off the week right with Primetime Gaming. We're always here talking game with friends. I'm excited to be here. can't wait to get into these topics. It's gonna get real spicy in here tonight. Let me tell you.
Yes.
You know, we got royalty in the building. Okay, let's go. Yeah, of course, we got our amazing panel, Tempest, Gaming Forte, and you, Boom, of course. So I can't wait to get these topics started. Let's go.
Well, thank you very much for being here once again. And yes, it is going to be very spicy. So get that Pepto-Bismol ready to go. Next and last, in no way least, we have a Monster Hunter legend who says it's an MMO life for him. A gamer who will save the universe from the clutches of the profound darkness when Phantasy Star Online 2 releases exclusively on the Xbox in 2020, an Apex Legends assassin on the level of Agent 47, and an Overwatch player who understands that there's no I in team. Please welcome Tempestsun.
Boom, boom, boom. What's up? How you doing? It's good to be here. Man, I had some tasty, salty bacon. There ain't nothing saltier than bacon, except maybe Kojima. Get into these topics, buddy.
Well, you know what? The gloves are off, folks. Listen, I know that people have been asking, when are we going to see a salty Boom? When are we going to see some curses fly out of his mouth? Well, guess what, folks? You're fucking getting it tonight.
Oh, damn.
Okay.
Oh, we busted a gun early.
Folks, that was just a shot to let you know that I'm serious. Now, this community question of the week was brought to us by Wolfpack 101 of Twitter, who hit me up very early. And normally we do a community question, but this was a community topic. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, after reading the article from different outlets, I wanted to make sure that I was getting the correct information. I have to say that I'm a little embarrassed. I'm a little disgusted. And I'm actually ashamed to say that I'm a Kojima fan. And so let's break down why that is. In a very insulting manner, Kojima suggests that American critics and gamers misunderstood Death Stranding because it's not a first-person shooter. Okay, well, I pulled this story from the VGC, which is also known as VideoGameChronicles.com. Mm-hmm. Now, as we know, Death Stranding's Metascore currently sits at an 83. On Metacritic, with 83 review scores ranging from 35, which I don't agree with, to 100, which I don't agree with. Mm-hmm. Okay? At the time of publication, the game's user score was 7.1. Now, these are the fans, folks. Now, you know how outrageous some of these things could be. So 7.1. In an interview with an Italian site called TGCom24, game designer Kojima implied that American publications has shown strong criticism to his latest titles, possibly in reference to IGN 6.8 and the 7.10 scores from both US Gamer and Game Informer. Now, in comparison, Kojima claimed that Death Stranding had received enthusiastic reviews from Europe and Japan, which is not true according to the article. And this is what Kojima had to say, folks. Okay? I have to say that the game received enthusiastic reviews, especially in Europe and Japan. Here in the United States, on the other side, we had strong criticism. Maybe this is a game that is difficult to understand for a certain type of critic or audience. Americans are big fans of first-person shooters, and Death Stranding is not. It is flying higher than that. Okay, I always try to create new things, and disputes and discussions are fine. But it must be said that the Italians and the French have a different artistic sensibility that allows them to appreciate this kind of very original products. Now hold the F on, folks. I don't want to throw F's around like it's for free, because every time I throw an F, that's $10. So I don't throw too many of those around, because Boom ain't rich. But here's the thing. In this interview, now I've heard some people defending this. Just a second, it might have been his translator. Now I'm going to say this, and somebody said it pre-game. If you are a Kojima, you probably have the top of the line money can buy's translator. So I call BS. End of story. The problem with Kojima is that people criticize his game, and I gotta tell you something. These statements not only make him look like a pompous ass, it makes him look like the guy who's just been handed a bag of lemons with sauerkraut. An 83 meta is not a bad score, folks. It's just not a 93 meta. And his game, to be honest with you, and I've watched 6+ hours of gameplay, is not a 93. Now, you might think so, and I'm not going to challenge that. But what I am going to say is that his opinion of games, where he turns around and says that there are no other games like him. Let me just break down a list of games from this generation that are not dude bro shooters and first person shooters that us dumb Americans play. Okay, let me throw that out there. Okay? Look at this. Games that are like his game: Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Assassin's Creed Origins, Red Dead Redemption 2, Uncharted 4, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Zelda Link's Awakening, Gears 5, Cuphead, Ori and the Blind Forest, Hellblade, and A Plague's Tale. That's just the tip of the iceberg that are different artistic type games, right? So I have to go to our guest first. Lord Cognito, when you hear him insulting the American audience, which, by the way, folks, if you think that this is not insulting, that's okay. That's your opinion. But I can tell you that the American audience that has been writing on Twitter that this is the greatest game since sliced bread, that worships this guy, should be insulted because he just basically pooped down your throat.
Yeah. Okay? Listen, Boom, this is, I've been struggling with this whole situation with Kojima and Death Stranding. Obviously, full disclosure, I have not played the game. Right. So I try to be sensitive in that respect. But I'm a person who I can kind of gauge whether or not a game is going to be for me. And with this game, obviously, once the gameplay loop was kind of, I'll say exposed, but at the Tokyo Game Show, in reference to what was shown, it was more about that, delivering the packages and connecting the world and that kind of stuff. At that point, it did not interest me. That was just me personally. Graphically, the Decima engine looks fantastic. There are some stealth and, parts of mechanics of it and stuff like that. That's cool. But overall, the gameplay loop wasn't going to be a first buy for me. Now, as this thing is going on, and obviously we've seen the reviews, we've seen what's going on, it's a very polarizing title, right? We have people who are praising this thing, who are giving perfect scores, and then you have people who say it's boring and it's not fun, right? When you read the perfect scores, the thing that I mentioned on our podcast before that I struggled with is when I hear people saying, well, after 10 hours or after 20 hours, it heats up. But right now it's kind of boring, but I'm still just trying to stick it through. Like you kind of need some endurance to get through the game. Right? So I got a problem with that already. You know what I'm saying? Why is this game afforded that? Right? Normally any other game, after 10 to 15 hours, whatever that time is, and people are saying not fun, it's going to most likely get a lower score or a lower review. Okay, but to each his own. If you still like it, great. Now, when it comes to this statement, I got a problem. The thing is, at the end of the day, regardless if it was lost in translation, like you said, Boom, you're supposed to have someone on deck to check that. But then when I looked at the statement that apparently was translated from Japanese to Italian then English, the sentiment still kind of remains, which is, he's saying that American audiences, they have stronger criticism. They don't understand this certain type of critic and audience. And, the French have a different artistic sense. When I hear that, you're still implying kind of the same thing, like the American audience is not up to snuff with your level of game. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't decipher the great code that is Kojima. And I got a problem with that. It screams arrogance to me.
Yes.
It screams someone who maybe doesn't take criticism themselves well. And then the other thing is, again, I'll go back to ILP and things we said with King and stuff is that, what happened with him and Kojima, with him and Konami, I'll never condone how he was treated on the way out, right? Locked in access and all that stuff. But sometimes there's two sides to a story, people.
Yes.
Sometimes we don't know what was going on in those offices. And if his arrogance, let's just say, was very high, and he's spending a lot of money and utilizing a lot of resources, and the parent company is not seeing this return, or they're just not bumping heads, maybe the Konami relationship did kind of put reins on him that gave him structure, and that's why those games worked. And the last point I'll say, Boom, is it's kind of interesting about that Americans only like shooters. I mean, God of War won Game of the Year. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, a lot of his games also prior to that, the Metal Gear Solid series, his sales, most of them came from America. Like, this is just very strange to me. I'll be honest, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because even if it wasn't a direct translation, the sentiment is still the same. And I got a problem with that. So yeah, man, I'm not a fan right now, Boom. Not a fan, man.
Look, the thing is very simple. Okay, I take nothing away from the fact that he's a genius. Okay, but that doesn't mean that because he's very smart and he's very artistically adapt, right? Does that give him the right to insult one audience or another? Now, the last time I checked, I'm going based on the circles I run in. Twitter has been a buzz since this game released, and a lot of the people praising this game for what it is have been a part of that American audience that I guess is too dumb to understand his very complex game. And it's funny because Matt Piscatella has been going back and forth with people left and right all day over this. He was pissed. Yeah, and I can't speak for Matt. And I'm eventually going to get him on the show. We've talked privately. Nice. We're trying to figure a few things out. But this is what he had to say regarding the incident on Twitter. And this is directly from Matt Piscatella's official account from 20 hours ago. It said, "I never realized that I was too vulgar and simple to appreciate video games like the French and Italians do because I was born in the U.S. Good to know."
Yo, Matt was busting his gun. I caught that tweet.
So I responded to him, and I said Kojima is way off base with that statement. Some of the best games from this generation are not dude bro first person shooters. It's insulting, and he owes his American audience an apology. And I think he does. I think that listen, I do not want this to go under the rug. I think Sony fans should be mad. I think Nintendo fans should be mad. I think Xbox fans should be mad. I think that anyone that plays games that has an artistic liking for games like Ori and the Blind Forest and A Plague's Tale and games like that really take the environment and make it into something special, it's insulting because basically he's without saying it, he's basically calling the American audience barbarians.
It's insulting to the people that just play shooters too, man.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's funny, Tempest. Let me go to you. Okay, now there's no doubt that he is obviously soured, that his game is getting a 71 from the critics, from the fans, right? 71 players, 7.1 for the players, and an 8.3 from the critics. I don't think the game is going to sell well. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think that this is, if you're lucky, you're going to get between 2 to 2.6 million, and it's going to tinker out because people don't want to take a chance on $60 that they don't know the game. And, again, remember, the diehards are only 15%. And I'm going high, 15% of the populace. 80 to 85% of the populace of gamers are the casuals. Casuals may hear about their friend talking about it, but they may not run out and buy it because they're like, what's a Kojima? I don't know. They may not know.
Yeah.
What are your personal thoughts when he turns around and says these comments to obviously he was being interviewed? Are you insulted? And do you, like me, think he owes the American gaming public an apology for this?
Well, first off, this isn't the first time he's kind of said something like this. Back when Ground Zeroes was coming out, he made a comment. I'll look into it and maybe interject later, but I'll pull it up. He said something to this effect earlier. Before the game came out, he said for his Western audience, for American audience, I suppose, he was going to put in an extra easy mode, for us. I mean, he said this.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
So this doesn't surprise me that he said something like this. I don't know what his beef is, considering this region has to be a huge reason why he's Kojima. He is Kojima-san. I mean, the dude has had multiple successful games that the Americans, North America, has bought from him. We have a very, very big reason why this guy is successful, just flat out. I mean, and you know what's a shame too is this game is so clearly different than what he has done. Love it or hate it, it's just a shame. Those games that you brought up, Boom, you didn't mention Metal Gear Solid 5. You know, games that have similar things like this, and he's sitting here trying to tell us that he's created a new genre of game. It's just, I don't know what's more insulting, like him actually saying this stuff or him expecting us to believe it like we're idiots. You know, I mean, seriously, it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, and if I've seen the argument, like you said, if he didn't really mean to say these things, Cognito said it perfect. The sentiment is there, but even if it is kind of a mistranslation, you need new staff. Bottom line.
Well, let me ask you this, Tempest. Now we've seen people use translators before. And if he's speaking Japanese, which he speaks mainly, and his translator heard this, his translator could easily have turned around and said, you know, you sure you want to say that? You know, he can reiterate, it's like, you know, or change it in a way. Now we don't listen. I don't know Kojima, man. If I saw him, I'd probably shake his hand. I mean, like I said, I've played all of his games except for this one, and I've been a fan. But you called it. If you have a handler that's supposed to you know, be an interpreter for you, you know, they have to interpret. And I don't think that this was miscued in any way.
No, he probably meant this. This has never happened to him. He's never had. I don't think he's ever came out with a game.
So basically, you're saying like people never, like someone never getting told no gets told no when they have a hissy fit.
Exactly, and it was very, very funneled. I mean, he brought up the fact that Europeans and the Japanese market gave him 10 out of 10, so he's happy with them. You know, but us poor schmucks, I mean, all we know how to do is point a gun at somebody and left trigger and aim down. You know what? At the end of the day, though, I think probably the most like weird but frustrating thing for me is if this game was made by anybody, it could be made by a bigger company, like a Ubisoft or an EA, Microsoft. You tell me, even maybe a developer in Sony, but not him, nobody would give this game the time of day. Nobody would look at a walking simulator where you got to balance packages higher than, oh God, I don't know, 10 feet tall. It's ridiculous looking. Nobody would give this game the time of day. Now, if people are giving this game a chance because it's Kojima and they, honest to goodness, are enjoying it, good on you. That's fine. Right. But my point is, I highly doubt anybody would try this thing. So the fact that this bozo can say these things, honestly, and get away with it and have people try his game, his freaking feces, piss, throwing game, and give it a chance. I mean, he should be thankful, honestly.
No, that's a great point. Real quick, I have to just get a couple of super chats here. First of all, iDizzy81 with the outstanding $2 super chat, and he says something I think that Cog's gonna laugh about. Konami might have been on to something.
They were on to something.
And we have two other ones that popped up. I just want to give that a quick shout out. It says Smuzz 246 with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says Kojima needs kicked in the shin and brought back to the real world. Great panel today, Boom. Well, thank you so much, dude. Really appreciate you being here. And the Savage Lobo with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says, I'm glad that Kojima called it for what it is. Americans are nothing but a bunch of idiots who only care about Call of Duty and Fortnite. Yikes, guy. Well, listen, I don't necessarily agree with you, and I gotta be honest with you. That's probably not the way that you're gonna make friends by calling the American audience idiots. But I appreciate the $5, and listen, don't be insulting. I'm not sure if he meant it as a joke, but I have to take it at face value. I want to go to Gaming Forte. Now, Forte, it's very rare as content creators where we get a chance to have breaking news before a show. Now, this broke early this morning, and everybody has been running with it because it's news. It's insulting news, and it's very unfortunate news. And sometimes people may take this as a publicity stunt. You know, maybe he's trying to get more eyes on his game. He says something outrageous. We've seen this done before with stars and movies. You know, we saw that with the guy that's making the Irishman. What the hell's his name?
Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, Scorsese went up. He attacked Marvel. He just won't let go. He's like a dog with a bone. And I think it's because and I'm glad I brought that up, and I'm glad you remembered his name. So thank you for the save. Martin Scorsese, right? Great director, classic director. He's done some amazing things, right? No doubt about it. But guess what, folks? He was told no by every major studio except Netflix. They told him, no, we're not putting your 3-hour mobster flick in the screen, in the theater, in the cinema, right? Which he says that is, and Marvel films are not. And then he went on this rant where he started attacking Marvel. This sounds very familiar. Kojima was told that his game wasn't 100, that wasn't the masterpiece that he thought it was, and he's now obviously, pitching these sour grapes. When you hear this, Forte, when you see these comments, are you insulted? And do you? And again, like I asked everyone else, do you think that he owes his American fan base that literally worships this guy, especially on the Sony side, an apology for these very crude remarks?
Look, man, I was at work when I saw this, and I just had to be scrolling through my feed, and I was like, "What in the world?" Like, I could not believe what I said. Let me go read some more just to make sure. I was like, because I couldn't believe what I was reading. Look, man, when it came to this man is just hurt that his game didn't live up to the expectations that he thought it should live up to.
Preach.
And and I'm just going to read it again. I have to say the game got enthusiastic reviews, especially in Europe and Japan. Here in the United States, on the other hand, we have tougher critics, and maybe it's a difficult game to understand for certain types of critics and audience. I was like, wait a minute, hold up. Are you basically just told me that I don't have a higher way of thinking about a game in a nice way?
Get on his level, Forte.
You basically just told me that I'm an idiot, that I can't think above the fray when it comes to other than a first person shooter.
Forte, you don't know how to make poop bombs, bro.
I don't know how to do it. Like, look, last time I checked, isn't Giant Bomb based in the United States of America? Isn't IGN based in the United States of America? Isn't GameSpot based in the United States of America? If I remember correctly, he made a game called Metal Gear Solid 4 that released here in the United States of America, and that game got perfect 10s from all those websites.
Oh yeah.
So what's the difference now, right?
So what's the difference now? Guess what the difference is now? You are really hurt that these people are out. These people that you say critiqued in the audience of your so-called lackluster, boring ass game are the problem. Instead of looking at yourself and saying, "Hey, guess what? Maybe if I want my game to be mass appeal, I want it to be more of the audience to see it. Maybe the game Death Stranding that I want to make isn't the game I should make. Because if you're thinking about, I want to sell a bunch of copies of the game and I want it to be universally loved and appraised, why are we making this type of game? Because this type of game isn't the type of game that your audience, that the Neanderthals over here in America like, I guess. But we played all your other games. So what was the difference then? So just because we lined your pocket with satin and let go for all those years, now you feel like you can just throw us out to the pasture and say, "Oh, I'm done with them. I ain't got nothing to do with them." That's the main reason you went with Sony in the first place, because you felt like you went over there and said, Sony gets my idea. They get who I want to be. But guess what? America, the United States of America, North America, the country that sits way over here to the left, we are the ones that consume the most media of anybody in the world. What do you think was going to happen if your game didn't hit home here? If we don't like it, it's a good chance it's not going to be commercially sell as well as it normally would if America was on board with all that other stuff. Games like Death Stranding, I applaud the idea, I was willing to go out and buy this game because I do have the collector's edition on pre-order. I haven't picked it up yet. I was waiting till I got paid to do it. But that thing is gonna sit there now. Because I'm like now, like why would I even support you in a manner like this when you feel like my money? You're basically saying my intellectual prowess isn't good enough to play your game. All I play is shooters. And last time I looked at my gamer score, that 100K I got in gamer score has a lot more than just shooters under it.
Yep.
So just because look, I think I tried to give this man a break and say, dude, the game just isn't for me. I'm just getting it because I want to see what the experiences is, because I do understand that experiences do matter in a game. You have to play the game to see what other people are thinking. I don't agree with what I see from the game. I'm like, this game doesn't look too good to me. But when people say that, dude, when you put the game on and you play it and you start getting into the ambiance of it, I'm like, okay, I can feel you. Maybe I'll try that. I'll see what that's about when I get it. But then you come out and say some asinine stuff like this. It makes me feel like a less of a gamer, because you're telling me I'm not good enough to play your game because your game is at a higher plane than I can even think of. And that's what I have a problem with. And I'm lucky I wasn't at home when this came out, because a video when it came out, that would have been and I would have pulled it off YouTube. It probably would have got demonetized by all the stuff. So I'm glad I was at work when it happened. But dude, seriously, this was a pump fake that I'm just waiting for them to say, oh, translators had to do it. I'm sorry, your translator, even if he messed up a little bit, there's no way you mess up a whole paragraph like that. Little things here and there could probably be out of translation, but guess what? That whole paragraph, I don't care what part of that paragraph you basically take, the fact that you compared us to another country and said that we're beneath the way thinking of these other companies, and you say we're the reason your game didn't sell well, you should have made a better game.
You know what I hope someone does, honestly. I really hope, because again, we don't have the resources like an IGN or a Giant Bomb or someone that's going to run with this story. Someone is going to run with this narrative, and someone is going to do some top-notch number crunching. And I hope that when the final sales for this game comes out and 60 or 70% of that has come from America, he's going to feel like a boob.
And I'm not going to tell the people that bought the game don't enjoy your purchase because you spent your hard-earned money. But I don't want to be seeing nobody going out here buying no Death Stranding game. You live here in America. That man basically just called out you and your country. I don't. The thing is, this country is not the greatest. It's not the greatest thing ever. I'm not going to say America is like home of the brave and all the other crazy stuff, because America has its problems too. But when a person comes out and literally categorizes a whole country in a certain way like that, I'm like, dude.
Yeah,
you can't throw someone, or you can't throw anyone under an umbrella. That goes for race, creed, color, sexuality, or anything. You can't do that. It's wrong to do. And a good friend of the show, Jay Zayas, says prediction for Kojima's future: he won't be around much longer if he keeps making stuff like that. So real quick, Cybernox, I want to get to you, but before I do, I just got to thank two people. First of all, Elemental P with the outstanding $2 super chat. He says, good evening, gamers. Great opening topic. And we have Scrub Nurse with the outstanding $2 super chat. He says, glad I could finally catch you live. Get him, boom. Yeah, well, thank you for that. I mean, listen, I didn't want to make a joke out of it, but I do want to drop some more knowledge. VGC stated that upon reviewing Metacritic, the lowest Death Stranding review scores on the site actually came from European and Australian publications, such as VG247 gave it a 3 out of 5, Digital Spy gave it a 3 out of 5, Aussie Gamers gave it a 6 out of 10, and VGC themselves gave it a 3.5. IGN gave it a 6.8 review, which was also covered in the Australian office. Now, U.S. publications that gave it high grades, the Neanderthals of the world, the Washington Post and EGM and GameSpot all gave Death Stranding a 9 out of 10 review scores. So I gotta say that you got a bit of a scratch your head. So now Cybernox, when you hear that the European markets gave it low scores, and that we just again off the top of my head, we just talked about the US publications that were raving up and down about this game, doesn't that make Kojima look like a bigger ass?
100%, boom, 100%. You know what? Like everybody on this panel right here, I was actually appalled when I heard this news. I couldn't believe it. Most of his sales, the Metal Gear Solid franchise is a beloved franchise here in the United States. I couldn't grasp why he would even say something like that. It doesn't make any sense to me. And this to me, somebody once told me this: if you want to really see what somebody's character is all about, just wait until they're mad or their feelings are hurt and watch what comes out of their mouth. And that's exactly what happened here. Kojima's feelings was hurt. He thought that this game was going to be a critically acclaimed game. And guess what? It wasn't. He made a game that was not popular with critics. The critics are divided on this. If you look at Metacritic right now, it's standing at a 6.8 user score, 83 meta score. Like, not a lot of people are enjoying this game. And he specifically started talking about how this is a new genre. He has never seen something like this before. I've been full disclosure, I haven't played this game yet either, but I've been watching a lot of this game. I love watching cutscenes. I do game movies on my channel, so I really enjoy that. But gameplay wise, what's innovative about it? Really? Doesn't seem there's nothing there. You're literally going from point A to point B, doing a couple of variations from here to there, but that is it. That is it. So I was extremely offended as well, kind of like everybody here. So we're saying all we know how to do is play first-person shooters. All we know how to do is do big explosions, bang bang. Come on, man, what are you talking about? Like, what are you doing, Kojima? This is an instance where he has always seems to been getting things his way. That's what I feel like. Even the games where, like, even the Metal Gear Solid franchise, it's a very very complicated franchise to follow. Even his games, it's just things happening all weird. You got a hand that's controlling somebody. You got crazy stuff going on. Okay, you got the la la lilo lulu in there. All right, now let's talk about that. Okay,
you're not deep enough to understand.
Exactly. Nobody ever checks this guy. Nobody ever comes to him and tell him how it is. And the first time ever that it's actually mixed on critics and based on the actual gamers, his feelings is hurt. And what's his first instinct? Let me insult. Let me insult these people here real quick because I don't like what they're saying about my game. So even though they've had my back on all of my previous games, let me insult them real quick because I'm right and they're wrong. Come on, man.
No. You make a great point, and actually, I'm glad you brought that up because he is like he's almost acting like a child, right?
Yes. And
when he was told no, or you can't have that candy, little Jimmy, and they start throwing a temper tantrum and things start getting. Listen, back in the days, that's when the belt would come out, and I'd get little Johnny never got I didn't have a chance to do anything like that, but.
Boom, real quick. I'm going to tangent on something that Tempest said. Tempest said if it was any other developer that had created this game, like nobody would be talking about. I'll tangent off that a little bit and I'll go, if it was any other developer that had said what he said,
they'd be ostracized.
They would have crucified by now. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Real quick, first of all, the one thing that I and shame on me, man, shame on me for not opening the show the correct way. I have to say a huge happy Veterans Day to all our men and women, and I'm bringing it up because one, I have it in front of me, and two, Philly Eagle just dropped a super chat. But let me get a couple of these super chats, and we'll get back into the what we're going to continue with. Jay Zayas drops a $5 super chat. He says, "Loving the show, guys. Thank you so much for your support, my brother." Next up, we have Victor Alistine with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says, last time I checked with the main star in the game was an American with a story based on American full of American stars. I mean, that's a really great point, Victor. And Philly Eagle, who did this huge salute to all my brothers and sisters in the arms on this day of remembrance celebration. Nice opening topic. Hashtag fun. Hashtag to each is their own. Hashtag no pocket watch.
No pocket watching.
Love it, Philly Eagle. Thanks for being here, dude. And thank you for the reminder. Yes, a big happy Veterans Day to all our men and women who are serving in the United States and abroad that are not only listening to this live, but may listen to it at a later date. We want to thank you for your service. It is truly appreciated. I'm an ex-veteran myself, not only of the NYPD, but the U.S. Navy as well. Listen, I want to continue with this particular topic because, I mean, I think everyone has had a really great point about about their personal feelings. The chat has been completely on fire. I mean, we are a few stone throws away from 300 watching live, which is crazy. Thank you guys and gals for being here. But, I want to just kind of bring this back around because I've heard a lot of people talk about this. I didn't get a chance to put my 2 cents in there. Cog, when you guys are talking on the ILP, and you hear such and so on was on to something. Do you think that maybe Konami was on to something by handling this dude? Because I got news for you. This is a bad look for Sony because it's a Sony game on the PlayStation 4. This is one of those moments. Hey, if you want the PlayStation 3, go out and get another job. That's one of these moments. Now, obviously, it's not as bad as that, but you're insulting your whole American audience in an interview. Maybe the handlers at Konami, listen, as we know, what they did to him walking out the door, not good, not a good look for the company. But the question is, were they on to something?
That's the question, right? Because at the end of the day, this is what I consider him unchecked. Right. And sometimes you can have a situation where you're working with an employee, you may feel they are restrictive with something, but it's almost like a form of checks and balances, right? Where it keep him in pocket with certain things. And I think maybe that could have been the case with him now. Now he's over here and we have to see how the sales do, right? Because if this game, it's coming out, but we have a couple other bigger games coming out this month. We got to see how this game is going to place. Now, if this game doesn't do well financially based on the investment, then Sony's going to have to reevaluate, right?
Yes.
Sony's going to have to reevaluate. And then we've already seen they've put the game on PC. So they are trying to maximize, and they let that out the bag a little early, right? They're trying to maximize the most out of this situation. So time is going to tell how much this thing, as far as revenue is concerned, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I think the main issue I have right now is he should know better. Even if he truly felt that, even if he feel Americans are stupid, right?
You just can't say that out loud.
Exactly. Someone on your team from PR or something should check you and be like, yo, you cannot say that. You know what I'm saying?
The problem is who's gonna say no to Kojima?
Exactly, because it almost feels like it's an entitlement, it's an empowerment, and now he's kind of loose. No one can check him. He's running his own thing. So time is gonna tell, man. We're gonna see. This is very interesting to me. And like Forte said, like my mouth hit the floor when I saw that message. When I saw that interview and the statement, I read all the versions. I read the cleaned up version, the translate. I had my Google Translator out. I was like, I cannot believe this man said that. There's no way. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt for it. I'm like, and then I read it and I'm like, yo, it's still coming off as disrespectful to the American gaming audience. That's not going to play. That's not going to play well.
Well, I mean, a perfect example. I'm going to go right over to Forte. I mean, Forte, you had the collector's edition with the baby in the bottle, ready to rock and roll, and now you're not going to pull the trigger on it. That's a lost sale, man. And you know something, folks? I'm not saying that people should. Listen, the first thing you're not going to get out of Boom is we should boycott his game. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that he owes the American consumer and his American fan base an apology. That's as far as I will go. I don't ever want to see anyone lose jobs. I don't want to see anybody lose anything. I'm not like that. Yes, of course I'm insulted, but I also didn't buy his game, so it's kind of like I stuck my tongue out on him, and I didn't lose, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Forte, do you think that this being, and I'm glad I'm asking you because you work for GameStop. Do you think that this could possibly hurt sales?
If it becomes widespread enough, it definitely can. I mean, because that's the one thing you got to know. One thing about America and Americans in general, we're very vindictive when it comes to stuff that we don't like. if you put out some negative, the biggest thing, we're very understanding. Most of the time we get along with just pretty much anybody until people just bother us. And I mean, and when you start characterizing people, especially certain segments of the United States populate, because everybody doesn't think the same. And some people are going to be a little bit more hurt from these words than others. And other people are going to say, well, this is what we've been dealing with our whole life. So we kind of understand, being segregated in certain ways. Because that's all this is coming off as. It's just coming off as another person coming out trying to say, I'm better than you. And the reason my game isn't selling well, or the reason my game isn't being perceived in the best light, is because you people in America aren't backing my game like you supposed to. Trying to tell me, so you're basically telling me I should do something that I don't have to do. And at this point, I'm just done with it. Like, everybody on this panel know I'm the nicest person in the world. I don't let nothing bother me. I don't let people get under my skin like that. But the one thing that I do is, once a person comes at me and shows me what their true colors are, I'm good. I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't have to,
he's going to lose a lot of sales.
I don't have to buy your game. I don't have to look at your game. If somebody comes into my store where I'm working there, if they want to buy your game, I'm not going to tell them that they shouldn't. I'm not even going to bring this situation up. But guess what? When it comes to me and me personally, I'm through with you, because there is no reason for you to say the stuff that you said and expect, it's just like it's like if you're in a relationship with somebody that hurt you and you cheated on you and stuff, and you take them back once. Yeah, I can take you back the first time. If you do it to me again, should I expect anything different?
Exactly.
So I'm not about that life no more. So I love Metal Gear Solid, one of my favorite franchises.
Me too.
It hurts my soul to know that this man who made one of my favorite games and one of my favorite genres when it comes to espionage and stealth had the audacity to say something like this. And guess what? Just like Cognito said, the more and more people start thinking about it lets you know that Konami was right. And I think part of his feelings is the fact that he will never be able to make anything like Metal Gear Solid again, because that game is not owned by him, it's owned by Konami, and he's in his feelings about that too. And the first time he tried to step out on his own and make a masterpiece, something to replace him and make him feel whole, in his mind, the game didn't fail. Like everybody said, 83 overall is not a bad game.
Right.
By far not a bad game.
Right.
But guess what? In his mind, he feels like it failed.
It's not enough. Exactly.
It's not enough. And that's the problem. But then you're trying to pass the buck to us to make it seem like it's our fault your game didn't fail.
Also, so I just want to throw one quick thing, Boom. I know we're going on this.
Go ahead.
But the other thing that I don't know if any of you guys caught this, but I believe, shout out to Matt Piscatelli, he also put this out there in reference to even some of the Japanese are having it. I would say ethical issues with him because of him putting characters in the game that are from Famitsu. And Famitsu is one of the people who rate his game. And they're almost looking like, I mean, obviously the game did super well with them.
Want you to know Famitsu Wave gave it a 40 out of 40.
Right. Wow. And they got apparently, whether it's staff member or whoever it is, some prominent figure in the game. And even some of the Japanese people from an ethical standpoint is like, yo, is that really cool? Or should we be doing that? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we know Jeff Keighley on the American side. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm not going to go all the way there, but it makes you open your eye, right? It makes you question, you know what I'm saying, about the integrity of certain things.
He's getting the stink eye from me tonight. Right. I just want you to know that.
Now that you said that, I just thought about that. Think about it. Jeff Keighley's American.
Yeah, we're gonna
your best friend is
American.
Yes, actually, first of all, let me get a couple of these super chats, and we'll come back to everybody. First of all, Scrub Nurse with the ridiculous $20 super chat, and he has a few things to say. He says, one, some people bought this game on the name of Kojima, even though it looked shady. Two, us idiot Americans know how to protest and boycott. Three, why come to E3 and pander, and now you're mad? Four, I'm not getting it now. Five, hashtag in the bushes. And then, of course, Sir X-Man drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Hey, Sir X-Man, thank you for being there, even though he's at work. He says, oh my God, Xbox console game stream at work on my phone. People are amazed why I showed them the dashboard and the games. They said they're going to get an Xbox based on Sir X-Men showing them xCloud, and this is interesting. And I want to thank iDizzy for the outstanding $2 super chat. First of all, I hope you're feeling a little bit better, dude. I know what you're going through, and I want to thank you for being here, supporting this channel. We have to support iDizzy, and we'll let Cognito talk about that at the end of the show. But he says this: Jeff Keighley still going to give Game of the Year #sucker. You know, that's the thing. And I just want to bring this back around to Tempest Sun. You know, first of all, the Game of the Year nod, and listen, as much as, like, you know, obviously me and Brap, me and Enrique, we're very good friends. In fact, we talked prior to the show going live. I was hoping to get him on because we were down a couple of people, and you know, obviously family time this is a family first show, right? If your family comes first, it's just a stupid podcast. But you know, we were talking, and, you know, on Twitter, we were going back and forth, you know, professionally and ethically, you know, where we don't, you know, we didn't get huffy. We just had a difference of opinion.
I saw that.
Okay, and that's makes for great conversation, right? We're not going to agree on everything, and that's great. But here's the thing: after this display, Tempest should. Just to save face, do you think that this shouldn't even be nominated for an insult like that, which the Game Awards is held, I don't know, in America, by the way?
Yeah. Well, just based off of what he said, I don't know. I mean, on something like awards and things like that, if he were to say too much more, then I'd say no. But you gotta rate the game based off of the game, not what some idiot said.
I agree.
So I don't think it should influence it as far as that goes, but a good portion of the vote, I think popular votes only like 10% or something like that for the Game Awards, and I think most of it is these influencers, you know, media sites, whoever that gets to vote on these things, and the critics are divided, legitimately divided. So, like, if they were to have any vote from like Giant Bomb or even IGN, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but like maybe one of the most real reviews I've seen out there was an IGN review. Like,
yeah, I agree.
It's like hell froze over, man. Like I was like, what's going on here? You know, but like if they were to get their opinion, they're not going to rate that Game of the Year. I mean, if they did, then something's seriously wrong. You know, so I just don't think it's going to win. If it does win, it wins Game of the Year. I honestly believe that Keighley or that show, maybe not Keighley himself, but the show, the Game Awards, they're going to lose a lot of credibility.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Yeah.
Because I mean, most of the time, the score or what kind of dictates what gets put up there for Game of the Year nod. But sometimes, like God of War won over Red Dead 2. God of War didn't have a higher Metacritic than Red Dead Redemption 2, but it still won Game of the Year because people just looked back on it and you're like, you know what, that might have hit me more, or it was just a better game, whatever. You know, so it doesn't go 100% off of the like Metacritic score, if you will. But if it wins, I mean, listen, I haven't played it yet, but so it's hypocritical for me to say, but I look at it and it looks ridiculous. It just it looks so ridiculous.
You not feeling it? Is that what you say? You not feeling it?
No, I'm not feeling it, dude. Like,
preach.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine spending, like, there's a lot of things. I could go to Longhorn Steakhouse with my wife, get 2 filet mignons, okay, get a really ridiculously good meal for $60. Like, I just couldn't imagine spending that money on like a package delivery simulator. Like there's this clip going on online of this dude going underneath the door and losing half his packages. And the guy writing the tweet is like, oh, I can't believe he accounted for you could lose your packages. That's so cool he accounted for it. And then what he did is he crouched, went and picked up the packages, and somehow when he's picking up the package, it magically appears from his hand to 10 feet in the air on top of his packages. Just looks stupid. It looks so dumb. Like I'm sorry.
It's like the 30-foot ladder.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, dude. Like it just literally.
I don't know, man. I don't know, Tempest, man. It takes a certain type of intellectual capacity to be able to decipher that, man. I'm
just a blue collar worker. I own like my own little business. I'm an idiot. I have no idea what goes on. I just like to look down corridors, pull up that L trigger, and just shoot it, man. That comes my way, buddy.
Let's dude, bro. That's what we do. We do, bro.
Look, man. Cybernox, let me get your last opinion on this. But before I do, Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. Woo! Enrique drops a $5 super chat, and he's got breaking news. This just in: Keeley has broken up with Kojima. Official word from Keeley: I am not a dude, bro. I also play NBA 2K.
Rap, you're a fool.
So Cybernox, let me ask your opinion on this, and we'll close it out on this. Do you think that maybe the reason why he has been so off the handle, not only in his game design, but the way he's been, the way he's been talking in these interviews, was because he's unshackled. Like, he had rules and regulations to follow at Konami. He's no longer there. He's the boss of his own company, and that's great, of course. But do you think that maybe it was the necessary evil of Konami that held him in check?
More every day it seems more likely that way. Like there is no way, like the first game that this man makes after he gets out of there, it's this controversial, and he says something like this. Like, come on. No, I think what Incognito said was correct. He needs his checks and balances, and if he doesn't have that, this is what you get right here. You get a style very similar to Metal Gear Solid, but a game that's just too high level of intellect for anyone in America except for the Europeans, Kojima, and everybody else. I don't know what that is.
Be carefully calling it a game.
And let me tell you something. And on the Game Awards, just remember that Kojima came out to a light carpet at the Game Awards, so don't be surprised if this game gets up there and something happens that I know Keeley says that he has nothing to do with the voting process. I completely understand that, but this man is beloved by Jeff Keeley, so anything can happen.
No, I mean, listen. I again, from what we understand, Keeley apparently has no say in the matter. But I still want to press the issue that it's still his production company that is handling the business. Now, whether or not, listen, I'm not saying that he doesn't have integrity. That's something that me and Brap went back and forth with. And of course, neither of us said that he has or he hasn't, because I don't know him. And I'm not going to say the man doesn't have any integrity. In fact, I applaud what Jeff Keeley does for this industry because it's because of him that we have a Game Award. So I'm not taking anything away from him, but I'm just saying that, like Cognito was saying, that if this does win, people are just not going to trust it anymore.
It's going to be bad.
It's definitely going to be bad for sure. But listen, we are almost an hour on this topic, and I kind of knew it, and that's fine because you know what? It's great talk. I wanted to get everyone's opinion. The chat has been completely on fire. I want to move on to the next big topic, and earlier this week, PlayStation CEO, who is, of course, the head of Sony Interactive Entertainment, Jim Ryan, decided that Sony needed to make some big changes to the current structure of PS Now in order to, in his words, fulfill the company's dreams of moving into the next generation. And they did just that by lowering the monthly cost of the service to $10 a month and adding some big titles to influence PlayStation 4 gamers to subscribe. But I don't think it's enough. Now, as we already know, the three bangers, in air quotes, were God of War, Uncharted 4, and GTA 5. All those titles are great. Well, thanks to our good friend Matt Piscatella, which we'll bring him up again, of the NPD group, who I had a chance to podcast a few months ago on the Basement Radio Arcade podcast, dropped some interesting numbers. Now, the new global marketing campaign resulted in a 50% increase to subscribers, bringing it up to 1 million subscribers to PlayStation Now in 30 days. So now the total amount is now 1 million. And at a quick glance, that actually might sound great, but this is where I bring us back down to reality and discuss the actual numbers and what it really means. When you consider that Sony was close to 104 million consoles worldwide, and the previous PS Now subscriptions total only came to about 700,000 prior to this new program. 1 million active monthly subscriptions, I gotta be honest with you guys, are not good. Now, with the new PS Now campaign, they obviously netted in 375,000 new subs. And the total amount, again, is 1 million. Folks, out of the 104 million consoles, do you understand that only 1% of their fan base is subscribed to PlayStation Now? And this is not an Xbox versus Sony thing, but, Cognito, you talked about it on your show. Mm-hmm. The unofficial number is 9.5 million subscribers, which is about 1/4. Just a little under 1/4 of the total. Because you remember, for every time PlayStation sells a PS4 console, Xbox One loses one on that tally. So that's how some people's math is. So we only have 30,000 consoles when we know it's probably around 45. Mm-hmm. I gotta tell you, I honestly believe, Cog, I think this is the first big blunder from Jim Ryan. And I say that because he was very adamant about saying that first-party games are not going to come into PlayStation Now from day and date. And I think that now think about this for a second, folks. Mm-hmm. If you were a subscriber or you weren't a subscriber and you knew that Death Stranding was going to be in there day one, before this whole Kojima situation, you would have probably dropped down $10, say, you know what? I can drop $10 down. I can play some other cool titles, but I can check out this Death Stranding. If you didn't like it, it was no harm, no foul. Do you think, in your opinion, Con, that this is a big mistake and that he's starting his big CEO push on the wrong foot?
This is how I look at it. I mean, obviously, we had this conversation with ILP. He's the new man in charge. He's making a lot of shifts. A lot of things are going on. There's a lot of movement at Sony. And I think he had an interview with the GamesDaily.biz.
Yes.
And he kind of broke down his whole thought process. And the vibe I got from him was that, prior, Sony was always kind of like three entities. You had the European, United States, and then obviously the Japanese, and they all kind of operated independently according to their regions. The vibe I'm getting from him is he's going for globalization. He's trying to unify. So if you're trying to unify, you're also going to cut redundant positions. So if you cut redundant positions, there's some change. There's some shift. There's going to be some things where the focus may change. And my concern in reference to this whole thing, to the subscriptions and stuff like that, they are definitely positioning themselves to be in play with streaming. You see, as far as services, it's almost similar to the model with Game Pass, and as far as PlayStation now trying to incorporate a lot of their exclusives in their service. Now, granted, yes, it's not day and date with the day one exclusives like a Death Stranding or what have you, but when I read his statement, it almost felt like the door would be left open. It didn't feel definitive to me that it's never going to happen. It felt like right now this is what they're comfortable with. And I think with Sony, it's more of a dip their toe in kind of a deal,
right?
In terms of the service thing, as far as going all full on and to see how it plays out. But they're definitely shifting. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we know Google is coming out around the corner, regardless of how we may feel about Stadia or whatever. They're a player from a financial standpoint and from an infrastructure standpoint. Obviously, we see what Microsoft is doing, and Nintendo is still around. So I think right now, they are clearly changing their identity on some levels. Mm-hmm. The key that we have to see is, does this affect the game quality? because that's all really the gamers care about. If they do all this and they're still getting the first party exclusives, the bangers that everybody wants, then no one's going to say nothing about Jim Ryan. But if we see a dip in quality, right now, shout out to Slow Mo's in the chat because I know he was an IOP before. He said he already seen a dip in quality. He's mentioning what was the game that came out? Days Gone, and I forgot Concrete Genie and Death.
What you have this year as opposed to last year, right? You have Days Gone. Listen, I bought the collector's edition. I put 30 hours into it. I didn't finish it. The game was a boring mess. All right, and that's fine. That's my opinion. I'm in for the big one, folks.
Right.
Concrete Genie. No one bought. Right, and I gotta be honest. This game looks kind of dope, but no one bought it. Medieval. No one's talking about it. And Medieval. A lot of people have this, right? And of course, now you have Kojima's. Death Stranding. If you compare these 4 games to last year's 3 big ones, Spider-Man, Detroit Become Human, and God of War, that's a big drop-off, Con.
Doesn't compare. And here's the I don't want to say dilemma because I'm not trying to preach doom and gloom over there. But again, if the quality, people start to see a decline, right? People are going to say, this is what we got got rid of Sean Layden for? Because at the end of the day, we have to admit the PlayStation 4 dominated this generation with quality titles and exclusives, right? If that identity changes and now they're doing similar things to Microsoft and they're not getting let's say they're just not getting high quality titles, then what? Is the Sony base going to be happy with that? So it's a big risk. You could look at it one way and say he's just shifting, he's adapting with the times. I have no problem with that. But you can also say, hey, we're starting to see a little bit of a slippage on certain things as far as quality is concerned. And we got to keep our eye open for the next generation to make sure that this guy maintains that high standard. And I think that's just going to be the question.
No, that's actually a great point. Real quick, Scrub Nurse with the outstanding additional $5 subject. He says Kojima sounds like Denzel at the end of Training Day. This is what you do to me. And then Sir X-Man with the additional $2 super chat. Thanks so much for that, my brother. I appreciate it. I love playing Doom on my phone at work. Awesome. Yeah, that's pretty dope, dude. Listen, I'm glad you're enjoying it. But I want to go to Forte real quick on this. You see, according to the article, Forte, that I pulled from where can I pull this? I pulled the article from Destructoid. According to the article, PlayStation Now is a more compelling offer today, but Sony has resisted putting in new games into the service like Microsoft does with Xbox Game Pass subscription, offering its players new games day and date. Now, this is what Jim Ryan actually had to say on the matter, and it's pretty interesting. It's an area that is fast changing and fluid. The nature of the scale of some of the first-party games that we are making leads us to think that right now, it's better to spend energy on making sure that the launch of those games is a massive entertainment event. I would cite God of War and Spider-Man and The Last of Us 2 next year will fall into that category. Now, again, it seems as if he's not closing the door. But when you look at the numbers, we have to go based on the actual numbers. Forget your loyalty to the plastic box you worship. Let's just talk numbers, folks. 1 million PS Now subscribers to 104 million consoles in the wild. It's less than 1%. It does not add up. Do you think, Forte, they need to change sooner than later?
So when I read that, it just seems like a lot of people over the last week have put their foot in their mouth about stuff that they shouldn't be doing. But for him to say that, look, man, he's the head of that company. He can do whatever he wants to do. He can say whatever he wants to say because that's his company. It's our decision to support that company if we want to. But the biggest thing for me, it's always been accessibility. I don't care where I play my games as long as I can play my games. And for him to say we want to make it this massive event, okay, last time I checked, digital is starting to outpace physical media inside the gaming sphere as we talk now. So when you say event, that means you're talking about people going somewhere to get a game, you know, so you could probably have like B-roll of it on your trailers and your promotional items and stuff like that. But most people nowadays are downloading their games. So what event are you talking about? I mean, are we celebrating the fact that PlayStation's sold X amount of games over the course of the first day, like most sold PlayStation game at launch on this day or stuff like that? That's fine. That's cute. I mean, it's a nice tag, but it's nothing like when you used to go to a store and hundreds of thousands of people were sitting in Times Square to pick up a game like Halo. I mean, I haven't seen anything like that since then, you know. So these events that he's talking about, I get it, but we're not in that age anymore. It's like, you know,
it's an old way of thinking for sure.
It's a very old way. And me being a person that works at retail, knowing that this 100% affects the job that I have and stuff. I am a realist. I understand that the more time that goes on, the faster we're going to be moving to this all digital future and stuff. And that is just the next stepping stone for them to do, is to put their games into a service like that. We're not saying that they had to do it with their next game. We're not saying that they even had to do it this year. It don't even have to be next year, but the plan needs to be in place to actually start implementing stuff like this, because once one company does it, we're all copycats. The reason that the reason we got the dreaded Connect is because the Switch, I mean, the Wii did so well. Motion controllers took over the world. And guess what? That's how we got the Connect. And god dang it, that's why Xbox was in the situation it was in. And then if you look at the opposite side of that, think about the evolution of where Move went for PlayStation. It went to a peripheral, it was just like the Wii. Now it's an integral part of their VR. So one company iterated on it and did very well with it short term, which is Xbox, because they sold 10 million Connects when they first came out the gate, and they felt like they had a gold mine. Sony didn't do as well with theirs when it first came out, because they were second to the party, or third to the party actually. But guess what? They stuck with it and they iterated on it, and now it's an integral part of the next third of their business when this is the PlayStation VR set. So they should look at themselves and say, hey, we're going to end up going in the direction of all these other companies, just because once people start getting the taste of what this stuff is, and that's what King always says, why would I want to buy Outer Worlds on the Xbox on a PlayStation when if I got an Xbox One or a PC, I can literally just play it for $10 or $15 if I'm on PC? Why would I spend more money for the same experience? You know, that's what they need to start thinking of. And I'm sorry, games like God of War, just because they're in a service like PlayStation Now, does that really lessen the experience of your game? No. People need to really stop equating value to a dollar sign, because when you think of value, I don't think of a dollar sign attached to it. I think of the value that game gave to me, how it made me feel, what it made me, what it looked out of me. Cognito will be the first one to tell you, he knows we love Destiny. Trust me, the game is amazing. I don't care what nobody else says. But guess what I did? The one game this whole generation that I absolutely put down Destiny for was what? God of War, because the game was amazing. It was a game that I bought my PlayStation for day one, and I knew that game was coming. And it's the reason I tell people today that PlayStation pretty much already won next generation when it comes to the hardware sales, because they gave us that game, and all they did was sell PlayStations off the back of that game when PlayStation 5 comes out. So it's not going to hurt anything. The fact that Last of Us, if they put it into a subscription service like this, are you really going to look at Last of Us 2 less of a game just because you got it for $10?
Even suggest such a thing.
And that's the problem that I think, that's the short-sighted mindset I think he has in this. But guess what? Let Microsoft go ahead and build up that player base, build that install base. Let Google get the other half of it, and let Sony be the third person in, and let's see what's left over after that.
Yeah, and I think that's not to jump in. I think that's why it's almost they are 1 foot in on certain things because they're waiting to see how the market's going to adapt. And I think that's what he does bring in defense over Layden, right? I think the vibe I got when you listen to what was going on internally, that Layden was really not about that. He was really more about, less services and stuff like that. And maybe, again, this is going to go one of two ways, y'all. This is going to be a genius move by Sony, that they adapted and they're kind of, even though it's a little step behind because Microsoft is aggressively doing it with Game Pass. Right. They're aggressively going in like Microsoft. The same with certain things even with digital, right? They were aggressive, right? It ended up being the right call long term, but short term gamers wasn't ready, and that's what happened with the Xbox One. But long term, if you look at it, it was the right move, right?
Yeah, they kept that same energy 100%. Through the whole generation. Just because they changed the messaging at the beginning doesn't mean the message changed over the course of the generation.
Exactly. It's all about the message and how it's presented. So, we're going to see, what I'm saying? If they go full bore, if they go with it, what I'm saying? This could maybe save them, what I'm saying? But if they still messing around and still holding on to antiquated thinking and we're not going to do this, and you got the opposition, put it this way, if the numbers do come out and Microsoft is extremely successful with this and they're making revenue, like you said, Forte, this is a copycat league. They're going to have no choice but to adopt a similar strategy.
That's why PlayStation Plus is paid for now, because Microsoft proved that you can have a subscription service and make people pay for internet. As much as people want, trust me, I want Xbox Live to be free. We all want Xbox Live to be free. But Microsoft showed over a whole generation that we can make people pay us $59.99 or in some pieces $39.99 or however much you paid for it. They showed that worked. And that's why Sony slipped that in there in 2013. It was like, now you guys are playing for internet.
And nobody said nothing.
It worked.
Well, the bottom line is very simply is this. In regards to Xbox Live, obviously we pay for Game Pass Ultimate that includes everything. And more than likely it's going to include xCloud. You're going to get the complete package with everything, which is great. But for the same $60 that you're paying monthly, for the year, you're not getting the same quality in regards to infrastructure with PSN. PSN is down a lot, but you know what? It's not that it's down. That's a problem. That's not the problem. The problem is the security part of it. You know what you're getting with Microsoft. You're getting massive security. You're not getting that with Sony. So that's something else that they have to do. But real quick, Sir X-Man drops an additional $2 super chat. He says, "Boom, are you ready for the snow that's coming?" You're damn right I am. I want
it'll be there tomorrow, brother.
I cannot wait. And Basement Radio Arcade, Enrique with the outstanding $20 super chat. When you come over, don't worry. I'm gonna have Josie make a rock and pollo for you that's gonna blow your mind. So get ready, because I got to pay you back for that $20. He says, physical seen a resurgent result of the Switch. Yes, that is true, because I buy all my games physical.
That's true. Yeah.
The breakdown is essentially 50-50 now. Also, we may see a mix of subscription services and traditional gaming like we do in other forms of media. And how about Nintendo? Let me tell you something. Look, I want this to be perfectly clear here. First of all, I am praying to the gaming gods. If you're listening, gaming gods, please make Jim Ryan put all first-party games into this service, because I'm going to buy I'm going to buy 3 years worth of it. Same thing for Nintendo. Could you just, again, I say this from a consumer's point of view, who, when I used to work, I did tons of overtime. In fact, guys used to make fun of me. Rarich, what are you doing? Boom, what are you doing for your overtime for? Oh, I'm doing overtime for games. What? Yeah, I just did an 18-hour overtime tour, standing on my feet in the snow, in the rain, in the blistering heat. But guess what? February is paid for, bitches. You know what I'm saying? That's how I rolled. And now that I'm retired, it's a little harder. So sometimes you got to cut corners. There's certain games I didn't get a chance to buy because obviously the finances weren't there, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I have more than enough to pay. But I will say this. Could you imagine the three big companies having a subscription service that all of their first-party stuff is their day and date? My God, where do I sign the dotted line? That's the future that I want. And again, I get people who are still with the physical stuff. And guys and gals, I was there. My brother, Neo Mental, used to break my balls about being physical. And eventually, it just became too much. But I want to go to Cybernox on this one, okay? As we know, Sony is very slow to adapt, and I think that Jim Ryan is making a mistake here. I really do, because I think that they would have 10 times the amount. Could you just imagine if they did offer first party day and date? Their rabid fan base would go crazy. I mean, I know they've been breaking Game Pass's balls for years, saying that it's the poor service. You have Game Pass if you're poor. I've seen that, which is, of course, insulting, ridiculous, and stupid to say. But, fine, that's whatever. But they would be the first ones to sign up on this. The question is, and you know what? I just want to read you the quote that he has to say on this, and I get your opinion on it. He says, "That's where we stand right now, but our stance on the inclusion of first-party games in PlayStation Now in terms of what we've done this month is very different to our stance 12 months ago. I don't want to say this is what PlayStation Now is going to be like forever. There's the door open. But certainly right now, given how some of our first-party IPs are incredibly special and valuable, we just want to treat them with amazing care and respect and have those launches be clean and pure." You see, that is where the sly remark comes in. And I'm not sure if he was taking a shot at Xbox, but what exactly do you think he means when he says that he wants to keep the first party IPs incredibly special and valuable and launch them clean and pure? Does that sound ridiculous to you like it does for me?
Well, I think Sony, they're very comfortable right now as the market leader.
Yes.
They don't need to take as many chances as Microsoft obviously has, and I think they'll eventually start slowly transitioning to what they're going to see their company become, and kind of what someone in the chat said, and also Incognito alluded to earlier. They're leaving. They're not saying yes, they're not saying no. They're just leaving their options open so they can know which way to transition when the time comes. We got to remember that PlayStation and their Sony Entertainment is PlayStation is their number one source of income. They're all in on PlayStation.
Great point, dude.
So hence the reason why they need to double dip. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it wouldn't be successful if they were to release their first party games day and date with PSN Now, but if they can get that $60 value and they can sell 5, 6, 7 million copies, and then a few months after have an additional revenue come in for you just by putting that game on PS Now, that's a win for them. They're going all in on PlayStation and they're getting more revenue for that game. The hardcore gamers will buy the games they want, and the casuals will be influenced by the hardcore. But then 3 months, 4 months, 5 months later down the road, what do? You take your AAA bangers, throw them on PS Now, and that's how you get those other gamers who weren't really looking at this game, but now that you say, hey, you can play this game that everybody was talking about just a few months ago or a year ago, Game of the Year, won all these critically acclaimed awards, you can play this game for $10. That's more appealing to a lot of people. Obviously, I'm in the same boat. I love the way Game Pass is. I think that's more of an incentive for you to get Game Pass. You get the games there day and date. But I think that's why Sony is going that way. I don't like that they're making their first party games once it goes into PS Now, leaving them there for a limited time. That I don't agree with at all. Like God of War, once it's in PS Now, should just permanently stay there. I mean,
right. It should absolutely stay there.
It should stay there. It shouldn't leave in January. That makes no sense. But they're in a very tricky situation. They're comfortable because they have 100 million plus consoles out there. They have to slowly start transitioning to whichever way the market's gonna go. And Xbox Game Pass shows that it's it can be successful, but they need that extra revenue. I believe they're all in on PlayStation. It's the number one source of income, and that's what they're doing too. Like I was shocked when they said that Ghost of Tsushima was gonna come to the PS4. I thought for sure that was gonna be a PS5 title. I think that's on the same mindset. They're trying to, The Last of Us 2, it's coming out next year, but it's coming out for PS4. So a lot of people will buy it then, and then they'll also buy Ghost of Tsushima. And then when the PS5 now comes out, what are they gonna do? Are they just gonna release an enhanced version, and are they just gonna throw in a PS Now, a subscription service there now, and they're gonna put those games in there day and date with the PS5? They can play this out whichever way they want, because unfortunately right now they're the market leaders and they're just watching to see which way the market's gonna go.
You want to know something that's funny that I just thought about? Last year for Black Friday, they gave away. People had to buy it, but they pretty much essentially gave away PlayStation 4 Slims with Spider-Man free for $200.
Wow!
So you basically essentially just gave Spider-Man free away, and they sold over 2 million systems during that weekend, and most of them were Spider-Man systems. So you're telling me that you can't put a game in a subscription service that you actually make dividends off of because of all the other games you have in there, but you're willing to give a game away for free for a system that people already buy. So that's why I don't get the whole understanding. Like, why not put it in something like that? Because all it's going to do is give you recurring revenue month over month versus just the static purchase of just the system itself. But I'm just one person that thinks outside the box.
I think that their mindset's still on traditional hardware sales, thinking, as long as we have 100 million, 200 million consoles out there, we're
it's the old school way of
okay.
thinking, dude.
Right.
Yes, it's a great point.
And now, if we believe the numbers, Xbox Game Pass, it's proving that, the subscription way, as long as you have, quality on your service, you can actually, do very well with that.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, first of all, we have to welcome Enrique from Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, who said, "Hey, boom, let me in." And here you are. Welcome to Primetime Gaming, dude.
Oh, boom. What's going on, man? Sorry about that, man. I had to turn on my microphone.
Echoing a bit, bro.
You're
Am I echoing a lot?
Yeah, bad, dude. Really bad.
Okay, hold on. Let me tell you what. Let me restart my computer. My computer.
No doubt.
Okay.
All right, we'll let him we're going to restart that because I want to hear his opinion on this. But Tempestsun, I'm going to get your opinion on this. Obviously, when you talk about Xbox Game Pass, you immediately equate that to value. Yeah. And if you look at the last 3 months per se, we're not talking about like the small games, because they put a lot of games in there. It's crazy how many games go in monthly. But in August, you had Blair Witch. Now, a lot of people didn't like that game. I happen to think that it was really good and really scary at the same time, especially with headphones. So you had that in August. You had Gears 5 in September, and now in October you have Outer Worlds. I mean, banger, plus everything else that they do for $10 or $15 a month. It is a bargain. And like I have just went crazy stressing, I really can't wait for the other companies to join this, because I will definitely subscribe, because it's going to save me a ton of money. I'll be able to play all of the latest and greatest games from each company for a low monthly price. And again, I know that's not for everyone, but it's definitely for me. In your opinion, do you think that Jim Ryan dragging his heels in the sand regarding this, wanting to keep his first-party titles pure, is not only an old way of thinking, because I think that they really hang their hats on the numbers, right? And any business is going to do that. I totally get it. We have 104 million consoles sold. We're the greatest. No problem. We have 17.8 million copies of Spider-Man. Great. But could they reach a more the casual audience that does not buy more than 3 to 5 games per year if they had a streaming a service where their games went in their day and date? Do you think that he's dragging his heels?
Yeah, I don't think it's more of a question of if they should. I think it's more of a question of if they can. Right now.
Okay.
Like Sabernok said, like we've said on this show before, they don't have just spare cash sitting all over the place. They're doing good right now because of their PlayStation division, but they need to keep that going. They can't afford to really, I think, change things too drastically, because they're a really, really big part of what's keeping Sony afloat. So I don't think they can mess around too much. I think, and he didn't close the doors on it, completely. But listen, that's my take on the actual question. But the bottom line is, I think when you look at the two services, listen, besides just the first party Game Pass, this service has actually almost trained me to look at some game releases a bit differently. Like, they have been putting out so many phenomenal games. Like, dude, Metro Exodus only like 2 months or something after it came out. You know, like the next Tomb Raider, the next any game, like this next Star Wars game. There's the chance, well, maybe not Star Wars because they have their own service, but like there are so many games that come out only like a month, 2 months after the service comes out. It's just a service that constantly keeps giving. And when you go into next generation thinking about the two services, because it's PlayStation, you know, now and Game Pass, pretty much if Xbox comes out with a more powerful console like we believe it to be, what can Sony really do to differentiate themselves? Like, if it looks better on Xbox and it's going to hit Xbox Game Pass, why would I go for another service when it's just going to look better on the Xbox anyways? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I think they constantly releasing these games, and it's almost training, at least me, to be like, man, I don't know if I want to buy that right now. That's not just the game. Like, some games you know you're going to buy, and then some you're not sure. Those you're not sure games anymore, it feels like there's a very good chance it might just come out in Game Pass. You know, plus that's not even mentioning that's just the console. And PC gets Game Pass as well. You know, they have some of their own games that they might have on there, you know, too. So I think Sony almost needs to put their first party games in there day and date to just be different. Not really different. They'll be doing the same thing, but I can't play God of War on Game Pass. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be able to play it on PlayStation Now. So they're going to have to do that eventually, or else it's just a service that's in a lot of ways inferior. And it's just the way I see it. I mean, they need to do this for sure. So,
well, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, it's going to be interesting to see which direction. You know, I know, Cog, you were talking about the turnover that has happened in Sony, and we don't necessarily know if it's going to help it or hurt it. Hopefully, they're going to be the same Sony that we know that they were in this generation. It's just that many moves. It makes me wonder exactly what is going to happen in the future. And like I said earlier, and I reiterated, because for me personally, you know, when you are on a budget, having Xbox Game Pass has been one of the best things.
Facts.
No doubt about that. But
I think, Boom, if you don't mind, I think Tempest made just a really good point too.
Yeah.
Their PS Now service also is kind of like what he alluded to, may not be able to handle everything that they want to throw in there. I'm not sure right now that we can only if you're playing on PC, you can only stream the game at 720p right now, right? You can't download it on PC like you can on PS4 certain games. So maybe that's just them trying to work something else on the back end before they'll eventually start doing day and date.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be interesting. And it's gonna be, you know, what's gonna be more interesting to see how their fan base takes it. Because their fan base is very, very one way in the way that they like their traditional.
They're very traditional, yeah.
Right. They're very traditional gamers. They want their games. A lot of people want their physical copies. They want it only on that platform. You know, big changes coming to Sony. It's whether or not their fans are going to be able to accept it. But, you know, I want to move on to the next topic. And I think it's actually a really good one because, you know, XO. You know, talking about the other company in air quotes in this ridiculous console war generation, and one that I think is moving in an entirely new and exciting direction. I'm talking about Microsoft is set to finish 2019 ultra strong with the Xbox fan event that is only in a few days. That, of course, is X019 that will be live in Jolly Good, London on November 14th. And if Aaron Greenberg is to be believed, Xbox fans are in for one of the best XO shows that has ever been produced by Microsoft. Now, leading up to the Xbox fan-focused event, there has been tremendous speculation. Is Fable being announced? How many new studios are being added? What new games are being shown off? What are these surprises that Aaron Greenberg is referring to? And is everyone of those surprises going to be shown there? Well, I got to tell you something. I've heard a lot of people say, and more specifically, Randall Thor, a good friend of the show, says that he thinks it's going to be a big show. And the reason why he believes that is because they're flying everyone out to London. That includes all of their big wigs at Microsoft, as well as press, and putting them up in hotels. They wouldn't do that if they were going to show My Pretty Pony Part 2 is going into Game Pass. Okay? We're not going to have Barbie's Horse Adventure 3 being the lead title in Xbox Game Pass for December. I don't think that's going to be the case. But if there's one thing that can turn around a company's fortune, it's momentum. And Team Xbox has that in spades right now. Ever since E3 2018, the future has become extremely bright, and Microsoft has put themselves in a much better position financially to invest in new first-party studios as well as new services. Now, X019 is an opportunity to show the world that not only are they serious about next generation, but ready for it. So now, without further ado, here are my 2 simple questions for each of the outstanding panel members and, of course, the amazing community in the chat. And I'm going to go to Cog, our esteemed royal guest. Here are my 2 questions to you. What does Microsoft have to do to make this event successful for the brand moving into the next generation? And the second question is, what do you want to see and what are you expecting?
It's a lot of pressure, boo.
Diddly. Come on now.
No doubt. No, man, listen, this is one of those things where, me, Boom, I'm always try to, err on the side of just keeping expectations low. You know me. I've always been this way. But at the end of the day, yes, there are some. Shout out to Randall Thor. Shout out to Jez Gordon. There are some signs that are pointing towards this being a bigger than normal kind of a situation, based on the amount of media, based on the amount of Xbox royalty, so to speak, that is being flown out. You don't do that kind of stuff unless it's like E3 or, you just don't do that stuff unless it's a bigger type of show. So I do expect some form of big announcement. Now, when looking at the list, a lot of the, Xbox Game Studios are going to be there. They're going to be ready to present. I'm assuming, based on that list, the bleeding edge, each single one will have something that we kind of know about. My hope is that, one, we get a new studio acquisition. That'll be cool, really coming into the next gen, getting everybody pumped up, to see another additional studio that's going to be contributing towards the Game Pass stuff. I think what we've seen, especially with Obsidian, is how excited people were to see a quality title like Out of Worlds in Game Pass.
Yes.
And it gave you excitement. You're like, okay, this is not fodder. This is triple. This is something I would plug down $60 for. No, it almost felt like we were stealing when we got Out of Worlds and Game Pass. That's how good it was for me. And obviously they've been on a good streak, Gears 5 and so on and so forth. So to see another studio, what I would like though, I want to see one, besides studio acquisition, I want to see at least one new IP that at least the announcement, because you've got to bring up hope. You've got to build up hope for the future that, they're working on something, whether it be Playground with Fable or whether it be, now we know Obsidian's going to be there. And the strange thing is they said they're going to be there, but when you look at the list of games that are known, Obsidian's not listed. So my gut is telling me, well, maybe Obsidian will have something to show that Microsoft already had seen that make them excited about the acquisition. So that's what I'm hoping from them. One new title. I know we figure xCloud is going to be there in spades. I'm assuming some level of, obviously I'm in console streaming and the Project xCloud beta stuff is out, but I think they may give us hard and fast date or maybe when they go public. And just maybe another exclusive game. And last but not least, maybe if they don't give us a Scarlet name, I know Saab said it on ILP, he was hoping for maybe the name or some type, maybe the date of the reveal event. Yeah. So you say, okay, boom, we're going to do a Project Scarlet reveal, either top of the year. This way, it just focuses on the system, the hardware, the power. You get the base galvanized. You get everybody excited. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Dizzy in the chat. He hate me talking that Obsidian talk. He's a Ninja Theory fan. Shout out to Dizzy in the chat, yo. I feel you, bro. I feel you. We got a poll going on ILP right now. Ninja Theory is actually leading, so you'll be happy. But yeah, man. Look. At the end of the day, you got to get the base excited. I know Phil doesn't like.
You're hardcore.
Yeah. I know Phil doesn't like to spill the beans. We know they're cooking up a lot of stuff.
Spill those damn beans.
Just give us, even if it's a JPEG of Fable, that will go crazy for the fan base.
So basically, what you're saying, Cog, is all they have to do is what Nintendo did a couple of E3s ago and put Metroid Prime.
That's all you gotta do.
People are passing out in the audience.
Bro, you ain't gotta show us no game. Just show us that you're working on that. It exists. That's one thing Nintendo and Sony, we got to give them credit. They're very good at exciting their base. This is the time. We all know what happened last generation. Next generation, we know, boom, Scarlet's coming. We know Halo Infinite on launch. Banger, no doubt. Get us excited. Get people like, yo, I have to get an Xbox Scarlet next generation because they're working on this or this is my game. You do that, you're good. So that's where I'm at with it.
No, that's really good. I have to just have to shout out the real Colito in the chat says that Rage 2 Control and Greedfall will be in Game Pass. Well, from your mouth to the gaming god's ears, kind sir. And then he also says they will announce that Osobo and a Japanese studio headed by Itagaki. Yeah, well, first of all, I did a big story on last week's on Xbox show that you might have heard of. It's called the Xbox Factor Podcast. Shameless plug. Yeah, we talked. Itagaki is going to be there. He made an announcement that he's coming back to the gaming public right before. So I have a real funny suspicion that his Valhalla Studios, which is based in Italy, but is a Japanese studio. We know he's the godfather of the rebirth of Ninja Gaiden. I think they buy his studio and he goes and he makes a spiritual successor to Ninja Gaiden for the Xbox as exclusive. But that's just mine out there. First of all, I have to welcome him again. Brap, welcome to the show, dude.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. There he is. There he is. There's Lord Chancleta. There we go.
I figured that might be the trick.
Yeah, well, listen. We know the old saying, when in doubt, hit reset, right?
Exactly.
Usually fixes everything. My question to you regarding X019, because everyone is some people are really high, some people are real low, some people in the middle. My glass is always half full, so I'm super stoked. And I've been wrong so many times that I don't care about being wrong, so I'm going high on this one. My two questions to you, Enrique, regarding X019, which is a great opportunity for Microsoft to put the exclamation point on this year, but more importantly, set them in the right direction for the next generation, which is only 12 months away. Here are my two questions to you. What does Microsoft have to do to make this event successful for the brands moving forward? And what do you want to see? And what is your expectations from this show?
Oh, man, it's a great question. Real quick, I just want to say Dizzy said that Brap's here to swoon another
Oh, my God. We know how you move,
I know, man. That's too funny. No, great question, but, my expectations are in check a little bit here because I've been a little let down with previous Exos. They haven't been stellar. Now that being said, if you were to ask me, you asked me what do I want to see? Obviously, I want to see more games, new games. Heck, I mean, like someone said, throw a montage up of Fable. You don't have to show gameplay. Hell, I think Phil Spencer could go out with the poster board and write in marker, we're working on Fable. And I think people would lose their minds with that. I know I would.
Yeah, I think everybody would. People would fall out in the audience.
Absolutely. So, do something like wear a t-shirt. Like, let us know that you have something. Look, we know they're working on something. Let the cat out of the bag. It doesn't hurt. You're going to let us know anyway at some point. Why not do it towards the end of the console generation where people are kind of, we're all kind of at the point where we're like, okay, we're at the end here, waiting for the next gen. Like, get people's get their ears perked up, get everyone kind of interested and like, oh, wait a minute, like, whoa, wait, they're working on this, and this. We didn't know about that. And oh man, now I can't wait for the Scarlet to come out. And what else are they working on now? Can't wait for E3. Like, get people talking about the brand again in a positive light. And not that I don't think anyone's really talking about Xbox in a positive light. I've seen some more positive media coverage with regards to like things like Game Pass and XCloud. So they have some things going for them. But I think strike while the iron's hot.
Yep.
Cater to your fan base. You guys said Nintendo and Sony are masters at this.
Yes.
Do it. Just give us a little taste, Just a little bit, even if it's a morsel. Let me tell you something. All of us would be ecstatic if they announced a game we didn't expect, or if they announced Fable or like a MechAssault, or even if it was something new for one of the new studios. I think Itagaki, that's kind of I think that's big news. But the thing is, we already I don't think it's going to surprise anyone because he's already saying, "Hey, I'm going to be there," And if you're newer to Xbox, you probably don't maybe understand the relationship that Itagaki's had with Microsoft in the past. But he was responsible for bringing Ninja Gaiden as exclusive to the OG Xbox, and at the time, you guys remember this, and you might remember this, Boom and Cog. He didn't have anything kind of say about the PlayStation 2. He's like, it's the weaker console. It can't do this. You guys remember that? I mean,
he was anti-Sony up front and personal. Yeah,
he was. He's like, I can't make the kind of game I want on that console. Seriously, he was. And so, I think getting him, even though Devil's Third was not his best game, but there is pedigree there. There's something to be said for his pedigree, for his personality. I think he's the kind of big personality you put out there on stage.
Yes,
fans,
that's a great point.
Kind of get him rah-rah. He is. I mean, he's a personality. And he's got some good ties with Microsoft, and he's put out good games on that console. But I think at the end of the day, it comes down to the games. I'm sure they're going to show games we know about already, and that's fine. Right. But I want to see Boom.
I want to see surprises, brother.
Yes, I want to see surprises. And I don't care if these are games that aren't going to launch for 2 years. Show me something. Show me what you're working with. I know about XCloud. XCloud's great. I just got into the beta. I was telling Cog, dude, the sorcery, the wizardry, I don't know what is going on. I had it on 4G LTE, Cog, and I was playing Killer Instinct, and my God, man, my 5-year-old picked up the controller. He's playing Killer Instinct. He's playing like a pro. Of course, he's button mashing. But his eyes lit up, and I'm like, they need to capitalize. Surprise us with another game that's coming to. Can you imagine if they announced Destiny? Come in XCloud. I mean, do something like that.
We know Phil is a big fan.
We also know that they're working together because obviously they had the marketing rights for the newest expansion, so they could essentially bring some. I mean, listen, I know it's going free to play. But you imagine if they put it into Game Pass with all the expansions? Think about that for a second. How many people? Would first of all, it would be primetime news that Destiny is part of Game Pass and that all of the expansions are in there. You'd bring all the player base right back to Microsoft. You bring all the player base that left Destiny because they didn't want to spend all this money, but they don't have to because now it's in Game Pass.
That would be huge.
that would be a showstopper, and you know something, I agree with you. Real quick, I have to get a couple of super chats here. First of all, Gotham guy with the outstanding $10 super chat. He says, "I'm excited to hear about anything regarding their first party studios, but I'm more curious about their third party announcements that Greenberg has hinted. Maybe something special for Cyberpunk 2077. Gamer by Choice drops a very generous $2 super chat. He says, Phil, wear a jacket with Fable 4 on it. Yes, please do that. And Philly Eagle, who was already donated, thanks again, dude, for the outstanding $10 super chat. He says, you want people to talk about the brand? ? Y'all with voices on YouTube, Twitter, etc., have to start the convo and understand your preferred game isn't the preferred game, that everyone is championing diversity. I mean, listen, I'm going to say this. I am, like obviously I have an Xbox centric show, and it's a very positive show, and it's because I like to look through rose-colored glasses. Now that may piss some people off. I've gotten some pretty funny and very insulting comments on YouTube, but it's the internet, so you're gonna get that. But for me, I think that yes, I agree with you, Philly Eagle. That's one of the reasons why I added that show to my channel, because the Xbox is my favorite brand. Now, again, granted, I proudly support the PlayStation and the Nintendo brands, but I play most of my games, especially all third party, on the Xbox. So I think that if more people talk positively about the brand, you could bring some people around. Unfortunately, not everybody, is glass is half full like mine. But that's a great comment, dude. But I want to get to I'll go to Cybernox first on this one. My two questions are very simple. What does Microsoft, in your opinion, have to do to make this event successful for the brand moving into the next generation? But more importantly, what do you want to see, and what are your expectations for X019 in London?
I think the number one thing is kind of what Incognito said. You have to make, and Brap also, you have to get the gamers excited about the future. That's 100%. You can't keep doing this. I'll tell you the game when the game's ready, when the game's coming out. No, you have to give us a glimpse of hope for us to keep continuing championing the platform. One thing that they also have to do is have a clear message. How many times do an executive is saying one thing, someone else is saying something, their PR team is going crazy in the back because they want somebody to say something, in a different way? Like, come on, everybody get on the same page. Let's get together. Let's focus, and let's, be clear where we're headed here, And whenever obviously I want to see games like everybody else. I for sure hope that we see something new from one of their studios, maybe kind of like you guys mentioned, maybe just a little, a title shot or, a teaser. But most importantly, I think one of Microsoft's weakness is when they showcase their games on stage. For some reason, it does not
translate
grab
well.
me.
Yes. Great point.
Glad you said
There
that,
is
buddy.
something. A lot of people, and this might be, a bit controversial. Some people may not agree with me. The Halo Infinite trailer that they showed at E3, I didn't like it at all.
Preach. I was gonna say it too, but I got killed on the IOP.
You got booed off your own shows.
I got booed off my show.
I agree with you, Cog. I agree with you.
The latest Gear story trailer that they showed, that trailer was fire.
Yes.
That's the kind of shit I want to see,
Yeah,
but they have a problem showcasing their games like on screen, and that's something that Sony and Nintendo, they do so well. And there's something there that they're not translating correctly.
Sony is the master of marketing.
100%.
No questions asked.
100%. Listen, in my opinion, I've stated this here before. Microsoft, the way they're going, they're the most consumer-friendly platform out there at the moment. They just need to tighten up these little things here and there, and then I think they're gonna be fine. But
they need to throw Major Nelson in the bushes. I'll throw
I met him once when he was here. He was actually pretty cool. He was pretty cool.
Was he wearing white gloves?
Oh my god! Here we go.
He should have though, because it was winter and it was cold as hell. Let me tell you. But I just hope that the same level, like X018 in Mexico, man, the energy there was intense.
Oh, dude, you felt the energy through the TV there, right?
Yeah, 100%. I just hope that same level of energy is over in England. I'm sure it will be. But having this show now in E3, they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, in my opinion, because you have to bring everything you got to E3, because E3 you're launching, you're talking about the new hardware, and you got to bring the software with it. But I'm just, my expectations for this show, I'm holding them back a little. I just hope that we have a good show and it surprises me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, listen, real quick before I get to Tempest Sun, two things. First of all, Jay Zayas says 393 people watching and only 139 likes. Folks, listen, I know that you lose a piece of your soul every time you hit the like button for Boom, and I'm working on it. I'm working on getting those souls back. But if you are enjoying it, believe you me, and honestly, it really does help this channel. This channel is tiny. And it barely it gets a blip on anyone's radar, and that's fine. I totally get that, because I'm only doing this 2 years now. But for some reason, the likes, the dislikes, the comments, that really just rockets this show and the other shows that I do into a different algorithm, which I don't understand. But it's complicated, and YouTube, if you guys are enjoying this, really, if you really are having fun, I ask that you please hit that like button. If you're not, I highly recommend you hit the thumbs down. Really, honestly, I wouldn't even get mad if I'm pissing you off and you're not enjoying the show, then you got to give me the thumbs down. There's no doubt about it. But if you are enjoying it, hit that like button. I greatly appreciate it. I have to thank Gamer by Choice for the outstanding $10 super chat. He says Microsoft markets games like they would market an operating system. People don't get excited for operating systems, but we do get excited about games. Market for excitement and things will improve. That is a fantastic statement, dude, because yes, if you market to your hardcore, the hardcore will bring in the softcore, meaning the casuals, because we're so hyped and we're talking about it at the water cooler. We're talking about it on the train. We're talking about it on, when we're talking to our friends on the phone. Oh my God, did you see what Microsoft did? No, Microsoft, what did they do? Oh, this game is coming out. Really? I have to go. How many people went out and bought a PlayStation 4 when they showed off God of War 3 years in advance? A shit ton of them. How many PlayStation 4s were sold on the trailer for Spider-Man? A shit ton. How many consoles were sold on Detroit Become Human? Tons. So Microsoft needs definitely to bring the fire. Tempest, I want to ask you the questions to you, and I'll reiterate them again. In your opinion, as an Xbox fan, what does Microsoft need to do to make this event successful for the brand moving into the next generation, considering this is the last big show next to the Game Awards, and it's a Microsoft-only show? But more importantly, what do you want to see, and what are your expectations?
I think what they need to do to be a successful show, regardless of what they show, is pacing. I think maybe even pace it a little bit better than what EXO was last year. And there was a ton of excitement, and that was like, it was hype. Seeing all the excitement, it really was. Like, I wish I was there with those people. Like, I really do. Oh yeah. They need to have a pretty good pacing. They need to run things along quickly. I was almost hoping that, I don't know what they're going to do. Like last year, it really was just a Inside Xbox. Are they calling this an Inside Xbox as well?
Yes, it is an Inside Xbox as well. Apparently, it's going to be the biggest one they've ever done. That's their words.
Well, I was hoping that it would be more like a keynote, like almost like a mini E3. But if it's more like, the Inside Xbox style, that's fine too. But yeah, they just need to keep things rolling. They need to show us games. If there's going to be like 24 games playable there, at the end of the day, this is a show that they're throwing. They don't have to do this, but they are. So let's have a fun time watching it. Let's see what they do. What I want to see is just one new thing, something new. I don't care really what it is, but one new thing. And let's be realistic. They're not going to blow their load on the show. They're not going to. They got E3 next year, and it's the E3 before the start of a new console generation. So I think they're going to put all their chips in on that show. But they do need to show something. Give their fans one thing to write home about and be like, holy crap, I'm glad I watched that. I hope it's Fable. Why wouldn't it be Fable? Playground Games is right there where they're doing.
Yes, great point, dude. Great point.
It's their
home turf.
Turf. Just makes sense, dude. Please let it be Fable. And if it's not, even if it's not Fable, please let it be Playground Games. I mean, this is the studio that has the 90 plus Metacritic games for Microsoft this generation. Yep. It's in their backyard. Even if it's a new IP, not Fable, don't care. I have huge amount of faith in that studio that whatever they make, it's going to be good. I want to see them. Oh, and also Ninja Theory is awesome. I do agree. So, I hope they show something. That's what I mean. I can go down this rabbit hole and just want. But if they just give me one new thing, I'll actually be happy, because at the end of the day, it's a show they're putting on for their fans. So thank you. You're going to give me something to watch. Give me something new, something.
Just give me the new Batman game. I'll be happy. Let's go.
That's actually been rumored to be there as well. I mean, we don't know if Rocksteady is going to be there or WB Montreal, but how freaking amazing. Because, remember, Aaron Greenberg said they have surprises, but he also said in that statement that there were first and third party surprises. So could you imagine if they got the marketing rights for Batman and it's shown off on that stage first? Holy,
that's it.
Loading your
Xbox
pants,
Batman.
Generation.
Xbox wins the next generation. Just show it on the good.
Just understand?
That's
it. It's going to be pretty interesting. At Forte, why don't you come in on the rear and make sure that our sixes are safe and finish off this amazing topic, okay? What does Microsoft, in your opinion, not have to, but need to do to make this event not only successful for the brand, but also really cement what they're going to do in the future? And what do you want to see? And what are you expecting from this show, dude?
For me, the biggest thing is, and I talked about this on Brap, and I talked about it a couple of places, it's the games are a must. The games are always a given. But as of right now, Xbox is still considered it's still a system. It's still a platform. It's not just Game Pass doesn't define Xbox. Games don't define Xbox like that, like it should do. But I just think overall, they need to give me a reason to want this new system that's coming out, because ultimately, hardware is what Xbox is known for.
Yes.
And the games are going to drive that hardware. Yeah, I have been ever since they came out with Game Pass and ever since they came out with Play Anywhere, they kind of segregated and separated a lot of that community. Some people want to play on Xbox. Some people want to play on PC. See Enrique, because he's now a PC fan now.
PC Master Race.
PC Master Race person. But the biggest thing is now they just give us a reason. Like we're all a part of the ecosystem. We're all a part of the same family. But now give us a reason to want to actually invest in the hardware that you had us buy over these last few generations. A lot of us supported Xbox with Xbox One, Xbox One S's, was Xbox One X. And really, we did it because we just trust Microsoft. Now it's Microsoft's turn to really show us, why did we invest $15, $16, up to $2,000 into your ecosystem? And the only way you can do that is by showing us the games that are actually going to move that needle. Like I said earlier, Sony already sold PlayStation 5s based off of the games that they wowed us with throughout 2017 and the games that's going to come out next year. And those games haven't even released yet. So I just think it really just comes down to that messaging. We know Game Pass is going to be the push. We know that's going to be what you guys actually hang your hat on, because Microsoft is all about services. And I'm happy they're doing that, because that is what their nature is. They are a service company through and through. They've never been known for hardware. They always been known for the things that they did to bring people together in these type of services like Xbox Live, now Game Pass. So I just want that to be the conversation at Game Pass. At XO. Bring the community back into play, because the community is the number one thing that supported you throughout all these generations, and don't make it seem like you're forgetting about us. We want to see these games. We don't want to hear we don't want to talk about games so far out in advance, because Sony does that, and we want to talk about the games when they're actually relevant. I'm sorry, it's time for the wool back.
Well, yeah, it's definitely time for a change.
Yes.
Hard. We can't wait 3-4 years. I used to argue with Slow-Mo about this all the time. Like, hey, give them a chance. They want to announce these games at bigger events. Well, I'm sorry, you didn't do it at E3. You didn't do the XO last year. So at this point, I'm like, okay, maybe Slow-Mo's right. The people are hungry to see what you're looking for. And even if you're going to show me a billboard with Fable on it, worst kept secret ever, freaking game at this point. We know there's not a Horizon 5 coming out because they said that they're going to skip a year. So we need to know what Playground is working on at this point. If it's not Fable, that's fine, but at least let us know what the heck is coming. So that's all I'm super excited for, because as of right now, I'm an Xbox fan that likes playing Xbox games, but not even playing on the Xbox because I play it on PC because Microsoft hasn't given me a reason to invest in the next system. And trust me, I want to have the next system because through and through, I'm an Xbox fan first. I love the games that they give me. And Halo next year is going to be something huge, and it needs to be huge in a way that it's being sold on Xbox is not just played on a service that you can play anywhere. It needs to have the identity that the only place you can truly get the best experience on this game is on a system sitting in front of your TV with your friends on the couch next to you on a 55-inch TV playing a game that
PC
Master Race 84 on the scene.
That's what they need to do with the Xbox going forward. So X019, bring the community back together and show us the freaking games.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Real quick, iDizzy81 with the additional $5 super chat, and apparently he has the winning formula for Xbox in 2020. And this is what he has to say: in order to win, announce a new controller, have Major Nelson perform a joke routine, more missed high five, and the return of Donnie D.
No. Dizzy, you are not on to something right now. No,
not like this, bro.
I will get.
Oh no, that would be a worst case scenario. And you know what? I got news for you. I would throw my Xbox in the bushes. I'm saying right now. Yeah. Listen, folks. I got to tell you. First of all, this was another record-breaking evening. We had 412 people, maximum numbers, watching this show live, and that is unbelievable numbers, folks. I honestly, and I say this every time I do a show, but I have to reiterate it again. Folks, I would be nowhere if it wasn't for not only your generosity, but the fact that you like listening to what I'm talking about. And I really, truly appreciate that. So let's get into the outros, because we are now past the 2-hour mark. And we're going to start with Royalty Cognito. First of all, dude, the passion that you bring to the ILP each and every week is something that, even as a content creator, you and Brab, both of your shows are something that I honestly really truly look forward to every week, because you're getting real gamers talking about real games. And it's something that is, when you listen to both of your shows, it's easy to listen to because it's like you're talking to me. And you know what? That's not something that you learn. That's something that you are. So I want you to do me a favor and tell everyone where they can follow you. Not only subscribe to you, but check out all of the stuff that you're doing with the Iron Lords podcast.
Thank you so much, Boom, man. Tremendous panel, tremendous show. All you guys are my gaming brothers. The chat was on fire. I'm just so happy that I'm actually around to be able to join, to be a part of your show, man. I mean, first of all, thank you so much. Like I said, long time overdue. You know me on Twitter, at Lord Cognito on Twitter. At Iron Lord Podcast is the Twitter account there, and YouTube as well, with my gaming brethren, the other Knights of the Realm, Lord Attic, Lord King, and of course Lord Sovereign, every Sunday 11 a.m. Eastern during football time. And we really appreciate the support, man, especially all you guys. I see a lot of the same faces here that I see in my chat, and it's good to see people supporting positivity, good gamers, people just coming together and just having fun, man. That's what it's about. At the end of the day, we love gaming. That's what this thing is about. And I'm always going to support you guys. I'm always going to support you, Boom, and Brap, everyone here on the panel. Forte has been a minute. Knox, get a chance to build with you. Tempest, you have me dying today, man. It's wild funny, man. But this is a great show. And I love to see the good guys winning. So you got to keep it up, man. We got to keep it up. But thank you again, Boom. This was fantastic. Wouldn't have missed it in the world, brother.
Real quick, before we get you on out of here, you have something going on with iDizzy, and I kind of want you to throw that out there because I think it's very important. Yeah,
Dizzy, man, that's my brother, man. A shout out to iDizzy, lordsofgaming.net, editor-in-chief, and most of you already know him. You guys have been following, his battle currently with cancer, and as a gamer, as a passionate gamer, just to see what he's going through, you know, and still keeping his spirits high, still supporting him, and him still just being in the chat. You see him in there, energetic.
He's there from the start to the finish.
From the start to the finish, man. And it's just cool to see as well, because again, I know the extent of what he's going through. He doesn't like to talk about it too much, but just to see the community get behind him and galvanize for his GoFundMe, for everything, for the family, it is just really touching to see. So shout out to Dizzy and the truck that's by me right now. I don't know why the truck's coming, but anyway. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? But shout out to Dizzy.
That's Don Matrick pulling up.
That's Don. They pulling up right there. They pulling up. So shout out to Donnie D right quick. But now salute, man, to Dizzy and everyone who has shown love. You know, again, it's just really cool to see. Me and him actually going to work on something too, from his perspective, from what he's going through as a gamer. So look out for something on lordsofgaming.net with that and the tremendous writers that we have there. And again, thank you guys for supporting the website. We're starting to see a lot of growth there. It's truly, truly humbling, from almost like a grassroots thing that we're building by the gamers for the gamers, that kind of a deal.
Awesome.
Well, it's good to see that you're getting traction. Your show is fantastic, and it's certainly deserving of it. And I also, of course, I can't wait for my next appearance on the ILP. We'll work on something.
You coming back.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Brap, I want to get you in here. First of all, thanks for showing up at the 9th hour, dude. I had reached out to you earlier because, you know, if you don't know, me and Enrique, we talk, we actually, you know, on a regular basis, you know, at least once a week, we're always calling each other and talking about gaming and stuff. I know a lot of people saw me and him going back and forth on Twitter the other night, but of course it was very respectful. It was just his opinion and my opinion, and we came to an understanding that we don't agree, and that's okay, folks. That is okay. But Brad, I gotta tell you, dude, what you guys do every week on the Basement Radio Arcade Podcast is another phenomenal show that more people need to tune in. And I love that it's passionate gamers with passionate opinions from different perspectives, from different walks of life, from different tastes. You guys all come together each and every week, and you put out something really special. And I do appreciate that you do that every week. So do me a favor, tell everyone where they can follow you, and of course, maybe argue with you on Twitter, maybe. And also, more importantly, get over to the Basement Radio Arcade Podcast on YouTube and give this dude a subscription number. Can you do that for me right now, bro?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, but I just want to say thank you again, man, for reaching out to me today. It means a lot to me, man, that you reach out and, you know, invited me tonight. I'm sorry I couldn't make it earlier. Had some family things to take care of, but it's funny, like we talked about the debating and stuff. You know, I always appreciate your point of view, and we try to do that on BRAP too, like, because I think something that's kind of gotten lost, I think, in social media, not just in gaming. I just think across many different facets of social media, it's like it's okay to have a difference of opinion, you know, and the common thing that brings us back together is the thing that we all love, and that's gaming. So it's okay to have a difference of opinions. I've never been a fan of the, if you don't think like me, then you're not me, and I can't be friends with you, or that mindset. Like, I don't believe in that. We're not 5 years
old, folks.
Yeah, exactly. Like, like Boom and I, like we can have, and Cog knows, Cog and I have disagreed on DMs.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. And Forte knows we've disagreed on BRAP, but at the end of the day, we come back together and we talk about the thing that we love, that the bond that brings us together, and that's gaming, and that to me is sacred. That bond, it really is. So, but no, Boom, thank you again, man, for having me on. I really appreciate it. For those of you guys who haven't seen us on YouTube, you can find us at the Basement Radio Arcade Podcast on YouTube. We podcast live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. To me, Gaming Forte, Slow Mo Backslap, Eric Jackson, B Money, and look, we're all gamers. A lot of us have been doing it for many, many years, and we just love talking video games, and that's it. That's what it comes down to. And if you want to give me a follow on Twitter, you can at BRAP_podcast. So, Boom, thank you again, man. We're gonna have to get you back on BRAP soon. Yes. And we will have Lord Cognito on. He's making the rounds this week.
Yeah, we're making the rounds, baby.
Yeah, we're gonna have
into that. Yeah, everyone's information is going to be in the show notes. So as soon as the show posts, if you're interested, I make it super easy. Get in there, click the link, and you can give them a sub if you want. And that goes for everybody on the panel, of course. And of course, thanks for being here as always. Definitely appreciate that. I'm going to go to Gaming Forte, dude. Thank you so much for being here. As always, love the fact that you are as knowledgeable but passionate about gaming. You know, I love what you do on Twitter with your positive messages. Not enough people do that. That's a big deal. Mm-hmm. And I really, really enjoy what you do on your YouTube channel, because the videos you make, you can tell this is coming from someone that loves gaming. So do me a favor, tell everyone where they can follow you on Twitter, but more importantly, get over to your channel and hit that subscribe button.
Yes, so I'm gonna turn my camera off for this.
Yes,
as you can see, I have an elite controller in my hand, the beautiful advanced Series 2 controller ever created. So I just thought about this when we were talking about XO. The one controller I wouldn't mind them talking about is this controller and giving me the ability to go into the design lab and make my own.
Nice.
If they did that, that's the only controller announcement I will accept from Microsoft at XO. But I love this controller. But as you can see, it's No Shave November. My wife is not letting me shave my face, so that's why I look like I look right now.
That's all right.
I like that hat.
Yeah, Call of Duty, baby. Best Call of Duty in the last 5 years. But seriously, being around you guys is always a great thing. I just found out today when I was looking at Twitter when Brad tweeted it out that I get to see Cognito twice in 1 week. I can't believe it. That's what's up. But,
making the rounds, baby.
But for real though, it's Gaming Forte everywhere, YouTube, Twitter. You know, if you want to come on Twitter and see me put on some ridiculous helmet like today, I had on a White Ranger today, and you know, show how it was snowing here in Michigan, which all you guys on the East Coast are going to get probably tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry, but outside of that, man, you guys are amazing. My child wants to come say hi to you guys.
Hello there.
Salute.
Hello. But outside of that, you guys are amazing, and I truly enjoy doing this podcast with you guys. And once again, Brap on Wednesday with the people Slow-Mo and E and B Money. It's going to be lit with the Lord of Lords in the can't wait to do it. So,
my brothers,
boom, and once again, another great episode of Prime Time.
Yeah, thanks for being here, dude, of course. And it's always great to have you as a part of this show each and every week. Tempestsun, the assassin, the quiet assassin who was really shooting out the comedy today. Love what you bring to the show. You know, obviously this is actually the first show that you podcast on. And we love having you, dude, because you are a seasoned veteran and you do bring something special to the table each time you show up here for this show. Do me a favor, tell everyone where they can follow you on Twitter, but more importantly, get assassinated by you on Xbox Live if they want.
Well, you can find me at Twitter at the Tempestsun. My gamer tag is Tempestsun as well. And I just have to say thank you, Boom. I mean, I'm the very definition. I pop on Twitter every now and then and post some gifts, whatever. But what you would call the very definition of like kind of like a nobody when it comes to this thing. I don't have like a YouTube channel or anything, but you offered your hand out and told me I can come on your show, and it's something I've always wanted to do. And now here weekly, I get to be on the show with a amazing panel. I really do love you guys, and you have a fantastic guest or guests every week. So it's just been a super big treat for me. I can't thank you enough. It's fun. It really is. And if anybody else wants to try this thing, if you're into podcasting and you want to give it a go, maybe
reach out to Boomstick, because I love showcasing new talent. Listen, I'm a pay it forward kind of a dude. I go back to 2 years ago when Mooch gave me a shot on Crossfire, and the rest is history, folks. So if you're interested in podcasting, reach out to me, because I really enjoy paying it forward and would love to have someone that's always, this was on my bucket list, and I know it could be on someone else's. If it's on your bucket list and you want to get on here, You don't have to have 20 years experience to talk about games. It's real easy if you're passionate. So Tempest, always great to have you on each and every week, and it is a real honor to work with you during Primetime Gaming. So thank you for that. And certainly last but not least, we're talking about Cybernox. Now, Cybernox, dude, first of all, a lot of people don't understand this. You know, he has a newborn, and he still finds the time, you know, from his family to be here for over 2 hours each and every Monday. So honestly, dude, thank you from the bottom of my heart that you're here. But more importantly, I appreciate your gaming knowledge, passion, and excitement for just what we all love, and that's gaming. Do me a favor, tell everyone where they can follow you on Twitter, but more importantly, get over to your channel and subscribe to your YouTube channel, brother.
Yeah, absolutely, Boom. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, man, I just love being here with my brethrens and talking about games. You were the first one that ever reached out and gave me a platform to, you know, actually just speak my mind and then just talk game with you guys. Tempest, Forte, it's always a pleasure. We're here every week. We had royalty in the building tonight with Lord Incognito and my man Enrique from Brabant here today. So it's been a pleasure, chat. It's been awesome having you guys here. You guys can just follow me. I'm easy. It's Cybernox everywhere. Check out my YouTube channel. I'm usually pretty active on Twitter, but I also I started a new channel, guys, that I'm actually doing a little soft launch tonight, right after this podcast. It's called Xbox Game Pass Club, and I've mentioned this here before, and it's pretty much we're creatures of habit. So we often get, you know, we play the same genres, same games, same style of games. And to me, I want to break out of that. I want to experience new games. I want to expand my gaming knowledge, you know? So Xbox gives me a great platform to do that. They have over 200 games there. And what I want to do is, if we're picking a game at random, I did that last night. The game is Absolver.
Nice.
And then we're going to play that through the whole week. And then at the end of the week, if the community plays or if you've played it before, we're going to discuss the game and then see how much we don't like it as a community. That's what I really want to do.
That's a really great idea.
Pass selection on God in them.
Oh, yeah, man. But it's always a pleasure to be here, Boom. Cybernox everywhere. If you guys want to check my personal channel out and the community channel that I'm trying to build, is Xbox Game Pass Club. And I'll be streaming on Twitch right after this.
Nice. Well, listen, that's a great new program. Everyone get out there and support this man trying to bring the community together, and we don't have enough people doing that. Real quick before we get on out here, Abacab 72 drops an outstanding $5 super chat. He says, "Sorry, I missed this. I'm still going on Modern Warfare on Realistic." Well, good on you, sir. I just wanted to say I like your shows and keep up the good work. Boom. Well, thanks, dude. I really appreciate it. The compliment is worth more than the $5, dude, but I definitely appreciate the generosity. I do this for the fans, and I'm glad that there's someone that enjoys the work that I put into each one of these shows. So thank you for the awesome compliment. And we will see everyone next Monday, where I'm going to be making an announcement of who that guest may be. And it's a big one, just like it was for tonight. We had 2 special guests tonight. But listen, enjoy the rest of your week. Treat others how you want to be treated. And guess what, folks? It doesn't cost anything to be nice. Live by those rules. I guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. Take care. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming. Take care, everyone.
Later, guys.
Peace.